3. Oh, right away, chat. Stumbling into it again. Classic. We are back. There we are, live. Testing 1, 2, 3. A Friday night edition of the Rem and Sam Pod live streams. We're here. We got that little NBA Cup on in the background. Let's go, chat. We all know the most competitive basketball of November is the NBA Cup, even though maybe the college basketball going on right now maybe is more competitive. We've currently got, we had Wizards versus Raptors on in the background, and we were like, well, let's see if we can find a better game. Turns out, actually, there's not, for some reason on a Friday night, not a better game. Nets Celtics was our only other option. It is a better game because Luka Garza is at the free throw line right now. Shout out. But, Luka Garza versus Igor Denham is maybe not the matchup we were expecting on a Friday night. Maybe we go back to Alex Sarr versus Scotty Barnes. We'll just have to see. But, hey, we shouldn't discount anybody because, we had, I guess, Maxey, of course, himself a star. But it turns out Maxey versus Ryan Rollins might have actually had the duel of the year so far last night. Maxey put up 54. Ryan Rollins himself. Did Ryan Rollins have 38 last night? Do we have to check the box score real quick? I think we do, because that game is definitely worth mentioning with, again, like we said, just it being one of the highlight performances of the season. And we could even probably go to the stat head and double check as well, too. Do we have to pause the stat head chat? I don't even know. We'll have to get IT on that, do a little research. But we could even probably check to see, like, two opponents in a game, what is the most combined points they've had so far this year. Again, Maxey, 54, a career high for him as well, too. So that's going to, carry a lot of weight for sure. But again, Rollins himself having a pretty crazy day. One shot away from two guys going a 40-point game. Rerun it on NBA TV in a couple of months in the offseason. And we may joke about that a little bit, chat, because of course there is the whole Hardwood Classics segment of the NBA games, and maybe that can be a little bit reserved for some playoffs, some finals. But you do get, of course, some real epic regular season games. I don't know if this is, well, I don't know. Now we have to debate. Did we just all of a sudden think up of a segment? Well, I guess we didn't think. I was gonna say, do we have to think of the top 10 or top 25, because we are 2025, that quarter century mark. Do we do a top 25 games of the NBA? Over the last 25 years, maybe even just a regular season focus. I know that eliminates every important game ever until we get to the NBA Cup being involved. But, just to highlight maybe some of the games that you don't think of necessarily. But there is one regular season game that I thought of right away that, and I guess, out of the hundreds that have been played in the last 25 years, but it's been within the last, I don't even know why I had to look at the calendar. I know what year it was, and I know what year it is now, but, it's been within the last 10 years. And maybe we could say it involves a West Coast team. So, maybe some teams that have been involved in a bunch of classic games. But again, if you're thinking regular season, it really does limit it down a little bit. But either way, again, for this year, just the overall duel was pretty impressive. Yeah, Maxey, like I said, 54 points. Edgecombe with a little 12-point performance in there. The classic, what do they have, 66 combined. So close, chat. Hey, 6, 7, sitting right there. Okay, 32 for Rollins. Shout out. Again, still obviously a really, really great performance, unless you put it next to 54 Tyrese Maxey. But, yeah, I imagine at 86 combined points, that's got to be the highest. Because that would be, of course, well, in the past, the segment's been Rem can't do math, but now a little Rem can do math, a little 43 points apiece, so I'm trying to think, has anybody been in that range in a game, and then again, the high 30s at this point wouldn't really qualify as well, too, because Maxey would have, kind of solidified this game as a classic for this year. But yeah, the Sixers able to get the win in overtime as well too. So maybe has there been a regulation game that's been close? I'm not sure. There's been some, yeah, I mean, high scoring performances. I guess there was a bunch of 50-point games to start the year. Now that, of course, you think about it. So was there another, but it wasn't necessarily like a duel. There may have been one, and now I don't know if we can necessarily research, all the 50-point games, 35+ point games scored this year. But regardless, for the name value kind of, or not necessarily the name value, but just kind of the classic random Thursday night game of, two guys just kind of battling it out. as well too, going shot for shot. And we were just talking about this on the Tuesday live stream as well too, of guys having those kind of dynamic battles. So we were talking about as well, more directly, when it goes down to guys actually like guarding each other on both ends of the court. Like speaking of this Nets versus Boston game, Michael Porter versus Jaylen Brown. Maybe we get a little those guys battling it out. It does seem like Michael Porter is guarding Simon, so we'll see there. I don't know if Michael Porter is necessarily gonna get the Jaylen Brown assignment at all in this game. But is Jaylen Brown playing? Is that why the Celtics are down by 4 right now? It would make sense. Oh no, there he is. Shout out again. We turned this game on right when we got on here. So I guess we haven't really been paying attention to this one. It is what it is. We got Jaylen Brown, speaking of, in the pick and roll with Derek White. Oh, Derek White not paying attention. Gonna try to, the classic, do we call this is this just gonna be the D'Angelo Russell now? The pass to the roll guy when it's just way too late in the shot clock? Oh man, shout out. I don't know, maybe this probably is just karma for what happened for D'Angelo Russell earlier in his career, but he kind of has, I don't know if Shaqtin' MVP is the right term for it, but it does feel like he is a little bit of the Shaqtin' MVP this year. And I know, shout out, obviously, JaVale McGee's such a classic Shaqtin', there's a reason that, he's getting a little upset. I mean, it was probably the most famous JaVale McGee has ever been, but again, now, unfortunately, the first thing you think about when you think about him is Shaqtin' Fool. But again, it's not like you think about him as, and again, I'm just using this term because it's associated with the title of the show. We're not saying this about JaVale McGee at all. I'm not saying that he is a foolish player. I'm just saying that I don't think you necessarily think about that when you think about him either. Obviously, again, you think about the association with Shaqtin' a Fool and that he had mixed in with the goofy plays. And, we were talking a little about Glenn Powell as well, too, on the last live stream. Was he, or maybe that was in the lost tapes. I don't even remember. Hey, I guess you'll just have to go through the last live stream to see if we had a Glenn Powell rant in there. But we were talking, and I had a Glenn Powell rant to our boss at work as well, too. He's like, have you seen The Running Man? And just like 5 minutes later, he's like, oh, I didn't know you had all that to say about Glenn Powell. And I was like, yeah, that was a bit of a conversation, wasn't it? But so I guess maybe I'm thinking of that. But he does, we were talking about, Glenn Powell, I guess whatever it was. We brought up, of course, Arnold in the conversation, as you would. He's remaking Arnold's movie in The Running Man. Is JaVale McGee a little Arnold in the comparison that there is, that the Shaqtin' the Fool is sort of the unintentional comedy of the game? Is he an Arnold level star in the NBA? Stallone, I don't know if we have to go, is he more of a Van Damme? Maybe a Statham? Is McGee a Statham? Because can Statham carry? I guess Statham kind of can carry a movie. Like, can he carry a crazy movie? Like, can he carry a crazy franchise, crazy box office? Could Statham be Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious? Of course, he can be the bad guy who's like the 8th man in the Fast and Furious team. Like, so a little bit more like JaVale McGee. But again, I don't know if can JaVale McGee be Statham in Wrath of Man or The Meg? Or something like that. We need that. Statham is one of the what do you say, filmographies that we haven't gone through a lot outside of again the Fast and Furious. And The Meg, I don't know if The Meg is still on TNT, but oh man, The Meg. I don't know if we can like track like what is the most a movie has run on TNT. But The Meg had a crazy run there for a while. It felt like it was on 4 times a day. So it's just like every time we turn on Sling, just The Meg is playing. Like, is my Sling TV update? Is it ever gonna update? Is it just not loading? It's like, no, actually, it's just The Meg is always on TNT. So I don't know if that has driven us away, or the fact that they have no basketball. Make no mistake, chat. They've got more room for The Meg. Hey, whoa. Hey, yo. But they've got more airtime for The Meg now. Maybe is a better way to phrase it. They've got an empty slot, but it is what it is. They got more airtime for The Meg now to play it. No, so maybe we flip over to TNT. If TNT is playing The Meg right now, that would be classic stuff. But again, and I don't know if Statham again even has the unintentional comedy of a star like Stallone or Arnold. It's one of the reasons that the stars from that era, I think, are, of course, I guess that we think, I'm sure, other people as well too, but, it's a big reason why those stars are endeared in maybe a little bit more of a timeless way. But again, I guess point being that, it's just a part of the JaVale McGee story. It's not the whole thing. I mean, he does have the finals runs. If you are, I guess, I don't know if you necessarily have to be like a big basketball fan, because I don't know if Shaqtin' the Fool is like a mainstream, obviously inside the NBA, Charles, Shaq, obviously all those guys are mainstream celebrities and all that. But I don't know if necessarily the conversation of Shaqtin' the Fool, gets outside of maybe sort of just the people that, I don't want to call it niche, but it is maybe, a little bit still within the NBA community more so than, like is J.R. Smith in the finals a little bit more different than just like a random sort of Shaqtin' the Fool moment. And again, JaVale McGee never had that as well too. Like, I honestly think you'd rather have the JaVale McGee situation than I think the J.R. Smith situation, because again, that is tough. Like that literally in, again, I don't know if we're stepping on any rankings here or not as well, but I think a lot of times, and I'm not, rankings are just fun for anything. So I'm not, you're never going to hear us criticize a ranking. You want, well, I guess there's a lot of things maybe we don't criticize, but, we'll never criticize a ranking or a draft, I guess. Well, maybe, fast forward a couple, we'll definitely regret saying that. But I guess in the sports sense, we're talking about in the sports sense, we'll never regret, or just like hanging out, talking in conversation. We'll never get tired of the idea of ranking things or drafting sports things. You clarify, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But yeah, now now all we can think about is getting drafted. So we'll have to pivot back to whatever we were talking about. But yeah, again, you're never gonna hear us criticize a ranking. So we'll be all for it. But still, it is what it is. So if you're gonna be known for a moment, I think you'd rather have just, again, the quote unquote unintentional comedy of what happened with JaVale McGee's career versus J.R. Smith actually like costing LeBron a moment. And I guess that's what we were gonna talk about, chat, was the fact that LeBron game is obviously, I mean, we might not even have to go like 25 years to rank that one really high up. Like that legitimately, again, could be, and I know the 2016 game 7 or just that whole run as well too. I don't know, what was it, game 4 when him and Kyrie both went for 40, which is just a great game as well too. And I know that like the intensity of game 7 never, like I think there is I forget what the time limit is, but there is the end of the fourth quarter clipped out on YouTube, and that one, that's a classic. It'll be in the algorithm every now and then, for sure. And, there's not a lot of points scored at the end of that game. It's not a lot of high action offense, but it is still it's like, maybe the most intense basketball that's literally ever been played, just with what is at stake. And the fact that not only you have the series history, but just these greater franchise and players history and rivalry. It's like, there's so much at stake in that 2016 finals that almost can't be replicated ever. That, I mean, and maybe Cleveland's on their way to another 50 years, but again, Cleveland can't, and not that you want to be, but you can't be in that spot in that finals until 50 years from now. Again, and not to say that the people 35 years from now of Cleveland, I guess will Dembasta be in the league, 35 years from now, but LeBron James the third, when he takes Cleveland to the finals, 35 years, yeah, that's still a good wait. It's still a long, you're still going to have to suffer as a fan with a lot of, I guess, losing seasons or just disappointing, or however, close you get to the finals there and obviously not win it. But again, it's still 15 more years, or even, was it closer to 30 more years? Was it even closer to 60 years with them not winning a finals there? And then we're talking about just the city as well too, not winning a championship, not even just the NBA team. So what do we got? Like Minnesota is, I don't have to call out Minnesota, Atlanta. Again, there are cities obviously that get close, but wait, did the Braves win a World Series recently? So, you do get those, again, maybe for a guy that follows more mainstream, football, basketball, sports, sometimes you forget about those. But for the cities individually, those are important as well, too. Obviously, the Dodgers won this year. Again, the Dodgers being a more mainstream team, and Ohtani and just the storylines around that. a lot of people were tuned in, but the meaning for the city and how important that team is. I mean, that team itself, you could say, could be, I guess the Lakers are the number one team in the city, but I guess the Dodgers are a close number two after that. And who knows, with the way it's been recently, obviously the Dodgers have been a little bit more consistently in the playoffs. I mean, really recently, but even again, if we're going, last 15 to 20 years, I guess maybe we don't know when the Lakers were bad there, what that sort of Kobe, end of the Kobe era, and then that pre-LeBron kind of run. Because again, even if they haven't won the finals every year with LeBron, obviously they've been better, they've been good. They've had a couple of down seasons, but you wouldn't call them necessarily, a bad franchise. Hey, again, are you gonna rank them the number one franchise in the league over the last 8 years? Probably not, but well, unless we're doing the Forbes list. But otherwise, they've still been better than they were the 7 or 8 years before that in a really dramatic way. And again, there's a finals in there as well too, so you can't even be mad at that. But yeah, I mean, point being that 2016, and I guess point being, that just the individual performance of LeBron in that 2018 game was just insane. And there was a post that was in our algorithm recently of that box score, and again, you maybe see the highlights. Of course, you see the memes of the LeBron's expressions after the game and after the J.R. Smith stuff, and again, you see some of the highlights and stuff from that game. But to actually, let's go pull up the box score from that game, because it is actually crazy. And I don't know if this is what we call out, just call out everybody else on the team. Hey, IT, I don't know. Do we blur? Is it do we have to blur the names? I don't know how bad it is. But, I mean, of course, it literally got an SNL sketch where the SNL cast was it's literally us and LeBron out there in the finals. And I don't even remember the final score for that game, so I don't want to throw out of course, the basketball reference is gonna struggle tonight, Chad. It is what it is, but I don't want to throw out even a percentage for what that could have been for points scored for his team, but at least for that starting lineup, just remembering the visual of that starting lineup, there's no way that they individually scored more than LeBron. So if somebody, it would have to have been, remembering, did Clarkson, because who did they trade for in the middle of that year as well too, but did Clarkson off the bench have a 17-point game that kind of, gave him a little extra scoring boost as well too? But he could have literally scored half of their points in this game if we go back and look, and I would not be surprised, because again, he definitely outscored the starting lineup, because nobody in the starting lineup had more than 10 points, I think. So if there's 4 other guys, I mean, again, we're locked in, chat. Rem can do math now, so we know at least they're not getting to, what did he have in that game, 54 or something crazy? I guess we just look for the highest playoff points number here until here we go. Of course, 51. So, I mean, almost 60% from the field, completely unstoppable. What do we have? 10 for 11 from the free throw line as well too. So, I mean, that even for a 50-point game, that's not super crazy free throws. I know you see, of course, you start getting, of course, into the 60s and 70s when you get 20 free throws. But, I mean, of course, you're just getting all those extra points. But, you could even still be 15 plus. I mean, if Shea or Giannis were 15 plus in a 50-point game, that obviously wouldn't be totally shocking. But, yeah, again, just the complete physical dominance of, the Warriors was pretty crazy. But, yeah, wait, I guess we were looking for the bench. 15, I mean, well, now we're back to can't do math. But, high 40%. 15 out of 114, or 51 out of 114. I mean, can't be less than 38%, right? I mean, yeah, it's not a third of the points, but I guess you do have Kevin Love with 21. Maybe somebody may have screenshotted a moment maybe where it was an on the court moment, because it was, or they maybe messed with the box score in some way, because it was the version that I saw on the gram was LeBron with all of the single-digit guys listed. So again, shout out Kevin Love. I guess just even getting to 21 is okay, but going back and looking at his box score, 1 for 8 from the 3-point line, a couple more of those would have been probably helpful at some point as well. Though 21 and 13, and in the finals, you just obviously got to take all the effort that you can get. So it is not bad at the end of the day. But yeah, otherwise, again, Jeff Green with 7, Nance with 9, Clarkson, speaking of, 4, Tristan Thompson 2, George Hill 7, and then J.R. Smith, who was the only other guy, I guess, just even taking shots in this game as well too. He was 2 for 6 from 3, 3 for 10 from the field. But maybe did he hit those 2 threes? I'm trying to think. When did J.R. Smith? No, maybe that was game 6 or game 7 of 16 when he hit those back-to-back threes like out of the second half. Because that was a great J.R. Smith moment as well, too. Again, we've always been pro J.R. Smith on this pod. Hey, of course, being pro Melo, that those Denver teams are teams that we like as well, too. Those are some fun teams. Always teams that we like. If we're ever around a 2K, if somebody's got 2K in the building and we're playing, definitely a classic Melo team is going to be one of the first teams that I think, honestly, classic Melo might be the first team that we queue up. And if we're running like all-time teams as well too, all-time Denver team is a pretty fun team to play with. I mean, you got a lot of offensive capabilities there. You can play pretty fast. And again, it's not necessarily a team that you just think of as like, oh yeah, classic go-to type team, or maybe it is. But, at this point with the Warriors, or not even the first one that could be mentioned, but, Lakers, Celtics, Bulls, even just any team with LeBron on it, obviously Steph, being on the Warriors. I guess because Shea now is going to be like a 99, I guess, would he be like a 99 overall? I mean, if he's not 99, he's like a 98. And he's a 97 at worst if we're just talking, overall legacy. And again, we're talking about him right now, or even if he gets better as well too. I mean, if he gets better though, he would be a 99 overall. So he's not that far off. But even if, he doesn't have the career of a 97 overall for the entire career, again, at this point with his level of play, he's playing as good as literally any guard in NBA history has ever played. So if you have, him in the mix, and now J-Dub as well too, as just any, Chet as well, any of these guys, but just a little added depth on that all-time Thunder team. And I'm trying to remember, does 2K divide up an all-time Thunder and an all-time Sonic? I mean, you would have, of course, in the year versions of the teams, you would have, of course, like an old Sonics team and then maybe a classic Thunder team in there. And now, again, the classic Thunder team does actually mean something, because the classic Thunder team just used to actually just be the one Thunder team that you want to play with. The Chris Paul Shea team may be a fun one, but I don't know. I guess Westbrook and Paul George and them would have been okay too. But even still, with all due respect to Paul George, and if you're in the real NBA and there's only one Kevin Durant and you don't have Kevin Durant and you can get Paul George, especially back then, that's a great move. But in 2K, if you have your choice of teams and you can play with Russell Westbrook or Paul George, you can play with Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant, you're probably going to take Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. It is what it is. But again, you have that 3, Ibaka, and then the core that you have now. That team actually has a couple different versions of it to start accumulating as well too. So we'll see. And then this version of the AJ Mitchell team, and then, eventually when Ousmane Dieng gets his shine as well too, and he's able to, I don't know, that's a pause, but, he's able to earn his role on the all-time Thunder team, that'll be good. That's when Carmelo, unfortunately, Melo, I guess if you're tuned in, pay attention, because, or I don't know, maybe tune out, but will he lose his status as our go-to team to play with? Pause. If Ousmane Dieng gets minutes, if he becomes an all-time Thunder team member, then the Thunder might actually, well, I guess, again, us not playing with San Antonio as well too, but and San Antonio is one that is a little sneaky overpowered. Again, it is a little era specific with the fact that you get, of course, the classic 3 and then Kawhi as well too. You get sort of a boosted Kawhi because, he was a little bit better those last couple of seasons offensively without the big 3 assembled than he was when they were playing in the finals. But again, that core did still play together. So just in terms of playing with a newer sort of different version of what the team could be, or not, again, not newer because it's an all-time team, but with just a different sort of lineup, it's not crazy. It's not different personnel necessarily than those 2013-14 teams. And again, you're getting Irving. I don't know. What do you get, like Artis Gilmore on the all-time Spurs lineup? I mean, Sean Elliott, maybe like Avery Johnson as well too. But, and it's classic. It's shout out. Obviously, Spurs keeping guys around for a long time is great for the team. And hopefully, again, it's not adding, well, hopefully we add a lot of names because we have a lot of good players now, but, not necessarily, again, within the next 7 years, like a different version of the team. Because even the Lakers, again, as well, too, like, you're going to have LeBron and Luka on, like, is Luka not going to be on an all-time Lakers, starting five, or not starting five, all-time lineup? I don't know how many guys you get in a 2K roster, like 12. And that even still at this point, again, if we're just talking Lakers history, is still a really high bar to climb. But I'm just talking individual talent if we're trying to put, the 12 best Lakers that have ever played. And again, obviously I'm not saying that Luka right now is better than if we name 12 guys. But is Luka, if he's on the Lakers for 7 or 8 years, a better overall player than a guy like James Worthy? Again, it becomes an argument as well, too, even if Worthy, just from a 2K aspect, then I guess, they would still lean into that stuff a little bit for sure. But they would have, again, that franchise, has turnover with the superstar players. So there's just a lot of guys and a lot of variety on those types of all-time teams. So, I guess point being, I don't even know what we were talking about the all-time teams for. It is what it is. Shout out, just Melo. And I guess Ousmane Dieng, once he gets inserted into the Thunder lineup as well, too. But we meant to actually start off with this a new segment, chat, a new bit. But I guess we get a little sidetracked with the NBA sometimes. It is what it is. But we have a little, I don't know, we call it meal prep tenderism corner. We might have to maybe we have to workshop the name. But we may have to induct somebody into the Rem and Sam Hall of Fame as well, too, because the screen time online, I guess maybe not a brag, it is what it is. I guess I'm not saying our screen time overall is low. I'm just saying that maybe we don't choose to spend it, just scrolling reels. I guess, are we old school, chat? What do we, like, read articles, long form videos? I'm not sure. But sometimes it takes a little bit for some of the stuff it takes us a little bit longer to catch up on some of the trends, maybe learn some of the personalities that are famous out there as well, too. And obviously, depending on what your interests are. Obviously you're going to, be tapped into different different sides of the algorithm. And we've mentioned this as well, too, in several live streams. We can't help it, chat. Hey, it's just become a top thing that a top pastime, or, a top thing that is fun to do. But, we've tried to really continue to improve the grilling skills over the summer. And again, maybe it's a little chicken or the egg, I don't know where the inspo, which way it goes, but because of course we're continuing to get better on the grill, the algorithm, we're seeing, we're watching more grilling stuff, and then also you see more grilling stuff, it's like, well, you got to get out there, you didn't try it. It is like watching basketball a little bit as well, too, where you're like, I guess basketball and grilling, chat, I don't know how similar they are. It's all in the wrist. I'm not sure, but we'll try to that might literally be the one. I'm not sure. We'd have to, I guess, think about it, see what the Venn diagram is. But again, you see like a guy, really going crazy with some on the, pause all this food talk, but you just see you see somebody really execute great on the grill, really, really the game plan's laid out perfectly, and they're just able to, A through B, go through it. It is gets your, I don't know if competitive is the right way to say it, but it's like, okay, I got to see if I can get out there and replicate that type of thing. And I would say maybe the top barbecue guy that we enjoy, the top barbecue personality that we like seeing on the algorithm right now is, I want to say his name's Walt. It's the guy from Destination Smokehouse. And we're calling it, this is a shout out to the tenderism. So, again, I think we're all pretty locked in. But I was seeing some of the ones that I was watching. I was like, oh wait, are these from like a year ago? Has this guy been famous for a while? Because I feel like I've just been watching this for like a month now. Some of these reactions, and then maybe it was the one guy that throws his glasses as well too. Because we've seen definitely some of his food reactions in the past as well. He's definitely reacting to some top level stuff. So there's been times, of course, when, and being probably one of the more famous guys, that we've caught a reel of his or two. But definitely his reactions to the Destination Smokehouses were ones that we were watching a lot. And now I guess, as you do, we've seen a couple of just other ones that he's had as well too. But so I guess we explain how the internet works. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it's like we said, this has really increased our view time / knowledge / inspiration / just like, okay, like we really got that. There's people out there really crushing it. Like, we really gotta step up this grill game. Like, you see what's possible, and again, it really you really gotta try it. So, we've been messing around, we've been trying, and I guess maybe do we have the excuse that these have been sitting here for a while, but we have to do a little tenderism check, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. And I don't know, is chicken the best thing to do it with? So wait, we'll see. In honor of is it in honor of Destination Smokehouse? If it does or doesn't work, let's see, chat. Okay, I think we only get so many attempts at that before YouTube takes us down. It is what it is, and I think Walt, a little less effort, and it works. Chat, hey yo, attempt 1. It doesn't work. Hopefully it still tastes good. It still looks pretty good, but apparently it's not falling off the bone. I feel like if you can get drumsticks though to just fall off the bone, that might be top notch. So Walt, call in. I feel like Walt's gonna pull up and be like, here's what's possible. Like, it's actually the easiest thing to make work. But hey, yo, it is what it is, chat. Sometimes it works. Well, do we complete that one? Well, maybe that would go to what we're saying. I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll take 2. So we'll keep it going, I guess until it actually works. But chicken is obviously, I guess, as we okay. So Destination Smokehouse Corner's not done. It's like, obviously one of the more economical options, but still, I think one of the easier ones to actually execute, and just time-wise as well, it's a little less commitment than some of the other stuff. But we did, because of the inspo, we did get some ribs, chat. Hey, yo. Like, again, I would say, like, I would throw some chicken on the grill and be like, see that? Like, I am a grill guy, but, or like some burgers. Again, like, if you grill up burgers really good, like, it's cool. But it's still also pretty low baseline for a good burger, as long as you just like don't just like completely dry it out. It should be fun. It should be fine. But again, it's not necessarily, I would say, a great test of skill. Like, I think it's sort of the, I guess maybe, is it the preseason? Maybe it is a little like the preseason. I don't know if it's Division I college. It might be a little bit better than that. Because again, I think everybody, well, I guess now we're not talking about sports here, because like everybody can grill. Are we turning into Ratatouille now? Everybody can cook. It is what it is. But again, just the commitment, attention to detail, I guess, is going to be a little bit different for everybody as well too. How much are you going to actually want to pay attention? But yeah, we're gonna try to actually see if we can get these ribs to fall off the bone. Again, it's not gonna work the first time. But we'll see. I guess we should have a little bit more confidence. It is what it is. And I guess I think we're probably gonna end up, because I get maybe cost as well too. Do we want to just have the grill going for like 10 hours? I don't know if that's the right way to do it. We don't really have like an actual like smoker situation, so again, you could just do it with the grill, and I guess it's not gonna be like on high the entire time, so it's probably all balances out. It's probably not too bad. But either way, I think we might end up doing like a little slow cooker, see if we can try to get like a little slow cooker grill combo, or obviously an oven grill combo could be pretty basic as well too. So I think that might be cheating, because I guess at the end of the day, like, tenderism is tenderism. It is what it is. If it's good, it's good. So that's, for the meal prep, like, that's still the first line that it has to cross. But if we're actually trying to, really pay homage, if we're really trying to, be the Kobe, I don't know if we can necessarily be the Kobe to Walt, but, if we're really trying to model our game after what he's able to accomplish, then, again, the actual ability would be the ability to have that happen on the smoker, with the fire, with the whole setup, and I'll say the actual real way, because again, the oven, and it's it's good, it's fine. I'm not against it. If somebody bakes you up a nice rack of ribs, and you got good barbecue sauce or whatever, and they're all seasoned up and stuff. Like, guess what? It's gonna be a delicious meal, especially if there's mac and cheese there. Like, you're probably gonna be okay. But I'm just saying, if we're really trying to achieve the top levels, it is what it is. See, so that is there is a little bit of sports comparison where it's like, okay, there is a baseline sort of role player skill that's like not even just to be in the NBA, but say you want to win a title, if we're using that as sort of the separating factor, there is again a baseline for it's like this is the type of role guy that you may need to win a title, and then you do get the elevated role guys as well too. So I guess, but again in cooking it's like, can you can get by with just being like a basic good cook, where it's just like you're gonna season and just like put a little bit of effort into like just like actually cooking it. It is what it is. But in the NBA, I don't know if you can necessarily just get by. But again, as I said, there is that baseline where it's like, can you win the title with, Dorian Finney-Smith as your fifth man? But maybe if you're the Thunder and you have, of course, Cason Wallace as your fifth man, or, and, obviously there's a height difference where you think Dorian Finney-Smith versus Cason Wallace. But that's what makes it a little bit interesting as well, too. Or like Lou Dort being a fifth man at times. Maybe he's ventured a little bit more into third, fourth territory at times. And, again, the Thunder can, obviously, it just depends on the day. Hartenstein versus Finney-Smith, something along those lines. I don't know. But Brooklyn keeps winning, chat. Brooklyn keeps the lead here. So I know the fourth quarter hasn't started yet. The tank job is not in effect. But is that how we know Jordi Fernandez is a good coach? And that is, I guess, the problem with some, or I guess is that their coach? Shout out. But that can be a problem, of course, with some of these tanking teams. Is in the fourth quarter, of course, is obviously the most important part of basketball. But it's like, are we? And they are trying to lose in the fourth quarters, I guess. But from a coaching standpoint, like how is the? And, I guess in some ways, these guys have been approached to be like, we need to lose games. But is it, you still need to coach well through three quarters to, like, actually prove that you're good at your job? Or do we just trust that, again, we hired Jed and we're just going to give you the 2-year window. And then, oh, yeah, no, we're probably going to fire you after year 3 because you lost all the games. It's like, wait a second. I was supposed to be tanking for Dembasta this whole time, and then we just got him. Like, what happened? Don't I have a chance? But, yeah, there has been some three-quarter stuff with this team where they've been in the mix. So, I feel like a team like Washington over the, just to directly compare some other teams, and maybe even Brooklyn itself in the past, by the time you get to obviously this point in the game, you're like, hey, this game is over. But at least, like we're saying, there's some fight and some competitiveness for a little bit. So I guess there is still 6 minutes left in the third here, but they're up right now as well too. So they do have a little bit of leeway if Boston makes a run here. Porter's got Jordan Walsh on him. We'll see if he cooks. Oh, pick and roll to Claxton. Oh, we got to check and see who's even on the Nets roster at this point. Clowney chat. Hey, yo, shout out. But him taking threes, I guess him off the dribble, or not off the dribble, but like running movement 3-point shooter a little bit, was not necessarily like a play style I thought that he played with there. So I was like, wait a second. Started double guessing a little bit as well too. And we still got this box score from the other night on in the background. And I guess we do have, I don't know if you guys can faintly hear the game that we do have in the background. We keep talking about Brooklyn versus Boston on the TV. In the phone we have, because we don't have Prime on the TV, but we have Prime on our phone. We do, I guess we just have to, we got to get the login to tap into the TV. I guess it is what it is. But we have been, at least at this point, listening a little bit to the Cavs-Pacers game, following along. Cavs starting to, pull away in the fourth quarter. It was close third quarter here, close at halftime. But now sitting with a 16-point lead. And the Pacers are at 2-13. Hey, yo. This is getting to the point in the, we do have, what do we have, right? I guess that's the 15-game mark. So that is, as like a round number, a little bit of a checkpoint. But we are, right around from like a third of the way mark type season, quarter mark, I guess I should say, of the season. A little bit more of a a defining point there. And just in terms of at least what these teams are going to start to become, if there is a direction that they need to start going. And not to say that, I don't know what the Pacers thought was like a realistic season for them. Again, you're not going to necessarily match what you did last year because, again, you're just not running back the same team. You're missing your best player. It's totally understandable. But could there be that other type of lower end playoff achievement that they have, that the team is still a competitive team, and you still go, okay, yeah, like this core and then Halliburton back, it really looks like something. But, again, 2-13 is them really, really fighting for the lottery as well, too. Like, that is the same record as Brooklyn. So, again, different scenarios. Literally, Halliburton just being on the bench, just ready to return from injury. Obviously, he's not just, like, ready to return tomorrow. But I'm just saying him as a part of the franchise is obviously a huge differentiating factor at this point. But yeah, and I know I feel like we check Tankathon every time, make no mistake, not the last time we'll check it. But yeah, just the little bit of a difference there. If the lottery were to play out like this, like Indiana, I guess, would have the 3rd pick right now, and Brooklyn would have the 4th. So we're 15 games into the year. Still a lot is going to change. And like we said before, I really like the top of the draft. So we'll see how close these next 3 are, in Caleb Wilson, Mikal Brown, and Amit, to DeBasta, Boozer, and Peterson, just in terms of conversation, and what, of course, obviously we end up watching as well, too. And we'll just see kind of personally where we kind of fall on the board here and see where these guys, just kind of see the vibes here. But, chat, do the Cavs have our pick? And they're going to get the other Boozer twin, Caden Boozer? We had Trey Jones, so if we have Caden Boozer, I think that'd be fine as well, too. So, or do we have a pick swap situation, maybe? I don't know. But, like, a more favorable of, we'll have to go check the details of some of that stuff. But, yeah, Caleb Wilson could still be a great player. And I did see a clip of him with Lethal Shooter as well, too, working out. So, a couple of swishes in there. Lethal Shooter is training the swishes. He's not wanting the guys, possibly touching the rim at all. But he could be, like I'm saying, he could be right in the mix with those guys as a prospect. So I'm not necessarily like poo-pooing the idea of them having the 4th pick in this draft, because it is such a talented draft. I'm just saying that, at this point, the familiarity we have with these 3 guys at the top is, pretty impressive. Peterson at 31 a game. His numbers keep going up, chat. Peterson to Washington, though, and that is, of course, that franchise curse a little bit, but it is what it is. It immediately feels like, but I mean, they have Johnny Davis, they had to trade Johnson, so I mean, if they don't take Darren Peterson, it's like, what are we doing? They're like, we have too many guards now, we can't. Bub Carrington, imagine, we can't take Darren Peterson because we have Bub Carrington. Though Bub Carrington and Cam Boozer, not bad. Cam Boozer, Alex Sarr together, you could see it, chat. I think you can see the lineup. But, we got to dive into this movie anniversary at some point, because this is a commitment, chat. I can't believe we signed up for this. Do we change the thumbnail and change our minds right now? I'm not sure. No, I think we pay homage to one of the great Scorsese's. Do we skip some scenes? We'll just have to see. Maybe we take a break and lock in, chat, because we've got the Rem Can't Do Math segment, 30th anniversary, 1995, Casino, up next. Again, Scorsese. The follow-up from Goodfellas, if I'm not mistaken. 5-year difference, but I'm sure, was there a sneaky movie that made in there in like 93? I guess we could go double check, but either way, the gangster sequel, of course, to Goodfellas, De Niro and Pesci reunited. Add Sharon Stone into the mix. Put him in Las Vegas, chat. It is what it is. I mean, it's perfect. What do we got? The NBA Cup in Las Vegas, Casino in Las Vegas. Shout out. I think it makes perfect sense. So up next, chat, will be, of course, walking through the 1995 Scorsese classic, starring Sharon Stone, Casino. Up next. we are back. We've got Casino fired up in the background, like we've said. Is it a little too loud right now? Maybe, but we'll see if once, I guess, things change. Once the intro music dies down, if that changes. And of course, great sort of, I mean, you know, in the Scorsese, I mean, movie style, you know, follows a lot of the classic gangster beats. And, you know, really just goes ahead and, you know, spans them out over 3 hours. But, I mean, that is, of course, you know, that's the leeway you get of making a movie like Goodfellas. You know, I don't know if there's an athlete that we can look at that had a season like this where, in this, hey, yo, you know, we were talking about this. What movie did we, oh, Get Rich, Die Trying. I mean, it started, you know, started at the end. Of course, a trope that has been, I don't want, is it been repopulated in 2025, you know, or as of right now in cinema, or is it just been elevated or, you know, oversaturated, I guess is the right term. You know, I guess we'd have to go back and see if there was a break there where there was, but it does seem like it for a while. You know, you would go again sort of 2000s till 2020s up until now. It would probably seem like a lot of them would just kind of start in the story. You know, the movie would just start up. But, you know, even Scorsese, and again, even in Goodfellas, you know, he starts the movie a little bit later in the movie. Not necessarily the end of the movie, the beginning of the end, chat. Hey, yo. But, you know, for this one specifically, he just goes ahead and just fast forwards all the way. But he affords, you know, he can afford himself that luxury, because he's given himself 3 hours till the next time we see this moment, as well too. But if there ever is a cast in a movie, if there ever is a director like who could build a world and a vibe and a style that you want to spend 3 hours with, you know, it would be Casino. And you know, Goodfellas is a little bit like that as well too. I guess the ending, like I guess the thing, as I'm saying this now, that I'll have to remember here as we compare, and when we get there in a couple hours, hey, yo, you know, we'll have to see. I guess maybe we just don't have to watch the opening credits. We could probably fast forward those after well, I guess not a spoiler now if you're following along, or if you've already seen it, you know, after the car explodes. And again, that really gives us a lot of grace now for spoiling this movie, because that sets up basically what this entire thing is leading to. But Goodfellas, of course, has the chaotic spinning out at the end, with him being tracked and the cops and the authorities starting to close in on Henry Hill and the group. And this one is a little bit more of the people turning on each other. I mean, at the end of the day, in Scorsese films, like, people kind of always get caught a little bit. I'm trying to think. Does everybody get caught in a Scorsese film? Like Belfort, you know, the Departed guys, you know, do they get caught? They, you know, in whatever, where they get caught in their schemes at some point. You know, nobody is, I guess, spoiler alert for The Town. Maybe we kind of already spoiled it, but, you know, nobody is sort of Affleck in The Town at the end sort of getting away, or, you know, I guess Ice Cube, you know, O'Shea Jackson at the end of Den of Thieves, where he is makes it out as well too. I guess, you know, the whole Fast and Furious franchise, you know, talk about Statham a little bit earlier. And I guess they do, in a sense, make it out. But again, those guys actually, like, get away. They have the money. They have the setup for the next life. They get to benefit, I guess, off of their crimes. And I guess not to say that, again, the score, because you get, like, Henry Hill just, like, chilling at the end of the movie as well, too. But, of course, Scorsese's ability to set up just a world, like we're saying, that you want to be in and hang out and see, like, the processes of, and just see, I mean, the day-to-day lives. And again, not to make this a Goodfellas thing as well, too. I think Goodfellas does have the anniversary, like we said, 1990. So I think it is that, you know, well-rounded, you know, that well-rounded anniversary this year as well, too. So I guess, you know, do we double Scorsese it? We'll have to see. I think, you know, we've had like 4 Terrence Howard movies this year. So do we have more Terrence Howard movies than Martin Scorsese movies? We'll just have to see what the math for the Rem and Sam pod says. But, you know, for, again, Scorsese, and I don't know, you know, if a lot of, I think this is, you know, whatever you want to say, underrated, rated movie for filmmakers. But, you know, it's why this movie is so good, is just him being in that world, in this gangster world that he's so comfortable with. But again, we do get to see all of this stuff, of course, in a different environment, and the similarities of, I guess if you're tracking, I guess, the processes of how the crimes are being committed and how the money's being moved around. You know, again, at the end of the day, it's like, I guess to some degree, you know, it's gambling crimes, maybe more so than just like solely drug crimes. You know, it's a lot of drug crimes. Well, was it drug crimes though? In Goodfellas, I guess is that The Godfather, where they don't sell drugs. Now we're getting our, you know, what gangsters are responsible for what, chat, what families do what. But, you know, again, you do get a whole different setting, even if it's sort of the Scorsese anthology of the gangster universe, because The Departed is a little bit different in the fact of of course in the fact that it's the kind of corrupt police force angle, and of course you're seeing more the lives of the cops themselves, and, you know, even there are some double agents in there. And then Wolf of Wall Street is set in, of course, well, you know, Wall Street and this whole sort of business but corporate world as well too, and then this sort of corporate mafia that exists in 2025. So, you know, it's maybe just Scorsese, not even just the anthology, just Scorsese being creative as well. Just like Scorsese, just like, well, I'm just going to make movies about what's happening and, you know, where the mafia is. They just keep updating themselves. I mean, you do have to give credit to the mafia for being, I don't know if you call them like early adapters, but they are very adaptable in their crimes and stuff as well too. I'm trying to remember, I guess I was going to say the crimes that they just got committed for. I mean, we see it in 2025. Like, if Scorsese does not do a sports, does he have to do a sports betting one? Does he have to do, oh man, I don't know. Is it like a Focus type of situation where it's gamblers betting on the games? And then they would, I mean, you know, again, Scorsese, it would be this spanning epic. So it wouldn't necessarily be a single focus story about a guy trying to go from A to B. You know, again, it's this sort of long process type stuff. And to be honest, you know, I'm not as familiar with a lot of the non-gangster Scorsese movies. I'd have to even go look and double check to see what they are as well too. Again, you know, it's to Scorsese's credit that he's so good at making them, that he's just iconic for these pieces. And I guess, you know, you start going, what's it like, King of Comedy, or is it King of New York? Not King of, he doesn't direct King of New York. Yeah, King of Comedy. There's another one that, After Hours. He directs After Hours as well too. Do we have to just pull it up, chat? Do we just have the mock draft in the background while we rant about Martin Scorsese? Does Martin Scorsese think the NBA is real? Does he think sports is cinema? I don't know if he thinks that cinema is only in movies, or does he think it can be in real life as well too? Let's see here. But yeah, I don't even know. What's the one with Garfield, chat? Silence? He's got Silence. Oh, then there's Hugo is a newer one that he did. Is there a mafia in Hugo? Hugo, the French mafia? I'm not sure if they count. Oh, Cape Fear, that's right. The Irishman, I mean, you know, we're talking mafia. Oh, Shutter Island, The Aviator. Okay, yeah, of course. Killers of the Flower Moon, obviously, I guess, recently as well too. I almost said Last Battle After Another, or whatever that one's called, but that's Paul Thomas Anderson, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out. Oh, Taxi Driver, chat. I can't believe I forgot about Taxi Driver. That was just on, I think, Netflix. Maybe it was on Tubi. Shout out. I guess Casino's on Tubi right now. We should mention is what we're watching it on. I mean, maybe just assume Tubi. I mean, you know, call in, but I mean, we're willing to talk. But I guess just assume if there's a movie on, it's on Tubi, chat. I mean, whoa. I mean, there you go. It's it's a slogan. But so I'm just gonna. Do we just give Tubi credit for having Taxi Driver just to prove the point? Maybe we will. You know, we watched it within the past 2 months, so shout out. The reason I was watching it though, of course, I mean, Scorsese is great in that. I mean, you know, as a director, of course, in that movie. But I was like gonna watch. I was like, well, I guess I want to watch De Niro in this movie. And you know, I don't know, are directors kind of like that? But I think they are, in some ways. You know, now of course Nolan is the go-to. But, and you know, Coogler and MBJ are a little bit like this as well. And maybe do you need the actor to kind of have the combo? I don't know. But, you know, our guy Singleton, I would say, and he does a great job of just sort of casting great sort of personalities in his movies. I mean, he had Tupac in a movie as well, so that, obviously helps. But, he does, there is a lot of really just like beloved people in a lot of his movies. But, him as a director as well, too, rest in peace. You just want to spend time with him as a filmmaker. Peele is a little bit like this. I think, actually, well, I don't even know why I have to be surprised, but maybe for us bringing up Barbie, I guess we brought up Barbie enough that, maybe it shouldn't be surprising at this point if you turned in. But Greta Gerwig, I think, in Barbie is a little like this as well, too. And I guess maybe I was going to, because for me, I guess, hey, call myself out. Do I know as many of Greta Gerwig's films outside of Barbie? It is what it is. But I guess, we'll have to do better and catch up on the filmography. But I guess we're just saying now, we have to catch up on the rest of Scorsese's as well, too. Oh, Mean Streets? Yeah, Raging Bull. Again, we're not sitting here saying he didn't make great movies outside of gangster movies. It is what it is. And I guess Goodfellas would have been the first one as well, too. I guess, Taxi Driver being crime movie. Oh, do we have to go back and watch Mean Streets? Is Mean Streets a crime movie? I guess a crime movie, but is it kind of that same gangster family movie, crime movie as well, too? Or is it more of just a single crime story in Taxi Driver? And, again, Taxi Driver is a little kind of him just going through life as well. But, again, it is a little bit more focused on kind of one guy and some more single events. But, yeah, again, I guess Scorsese needs to he'll be the guy responsible for the sports gambling movie. I don't know what he has up next as well, too. But if it isn't every other situation, it's not totally, Gangs of New York? Of course, Chad. Of course. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close to an every other, Last Temptation of Christ in 88, Color Money 86, after I was 85. But, yeah, Godfathers, Cape Fear, Age of Innocence, Casino, or what do we say? Did we say Godfather? Goodfellas, Cape Fear, Age of Innocence, Casino, Kundun, Bringing Out the Dead, Gangs of New York, he's back to the gangster movies, Aviator, then The Departed, Shutter Island, Hugo, Wolf of Wall Street, Silence the Irishman, Killers of the Flower Moon. So yeah, he's gonna be back in 2025, 2026 with whatever the next project is. Do we have to go to IMDb here and see what we can cook up for our guy Marty Scorsese? But yeah, I think he is maybe I don't know if I want to say the best like slice of life director that we've ever had. I don't even know if that's a great way to phrase it. But yeah, there isn't really like a story, and I don't want to say that as well too, because you do have so many stories with just the fact that their lives are happening. But there isn't a sort of a story that happens in these movies, and yet somehow you're just engrossed in watching every single thing that happens. Again, a movie, like if we're just talking about, Nolan movies as well too. Like Nolan movies have an A to B. And again, like Scorsese movies always get there, and the fact that crime is happening and the cops are going to have to catch him at some point. But with Inception, you've got guys that have to go plant a dream, and then their movie is them having to go accomplish that. Interstellar, the guy has to go, I don't even remember what he has to go do at some point. He has to go yell at himself through a bookshelf, and then, he has to go find the bookshelf in space. In The Dark Knight, the Batman, of course, has to become the Batman in the first one. He's got to track the Joker. He's got to track Bane. I mean, Tenet has a mission as well, too, of stopping Sador or whatever. We don't even really know what the plot of Tenet is. Memento, I don't know if the mission that he has is the mission that, of course, Ayo. But, of course, you're thinking that he's trying to avenge his wife's killer in that movie, and he's got a plan. Like Nolan, Nolan doesn't. I don't even know how Nolan would make the Batman movie, like Scorsese would, or how Scorsese. And again, us maybe having to go watch more of those movies. I guess just rewatch Taxi Driver again as well too. Seeing Scorsese in a more like kind of single style focus. But I guess just to counter, balance those types of stories as well too. Like just, there could be a movie about a gangster, a little bit more individually in his rise as well too. And I guess, there is sort of a whole, again, speaking of the 90s, a different side of these movies as well too, that take place in terms of the, a more street level crime rise that people have. Pesci just stabbing people. What do we got? Like 20 minutes in? Not even. Hey yo, just going crazy. Pesci. I mean, even more. I mean, everybody is, of course, just more themselves in this movie. It is what it is. But Pesci is all time. And did he win the Oscar for Goodfellas? Of course, I guess, did anybody win the Oscar? I don't remember. Is that one where just Martin Scorsese got cheated on not winning that one? Or did everybody else also, looking back, should have just cleaned up? It should have just been the 2017 Warriors. And that's what happens. I guess you can't necessarily give out movie awards like that, but that would be interesting it'd be a much shorter and more limited award show. But it's just like, no, this movie has to kind of qualify in all the categories a little bit for it to not say that again doesn't kind of already happen as well too. But it's just like, okay, could we see this movie being a movie that is worthy of all of these things, if that makes sense? Like if there's a movie that would get nominated in the acting and not directing, or vice versa, but it's like either one of them is so good that that it carries the other one, and the other one's obviously good enough that it makes it work, that the movie has to be nominated. That I'm sure is a recipe either way that has happened many, many times. But for a movie like Goodfellas to be, so great both ways is, like we're saying, a movie that's deserving of just being rewarded all these times. And I think it is a little bit, it's not necessarily I think you could have a movie every year maybe be that dominant, but I don't know. I think if a movie's gonna be the best picture like that, it could be it could be pretty close anyways. But hey yo, with stay tuned, chat, with Tubi with ads. This is going to be crazy. We are not going to have to worry about missing the next NBA game, which is actually going to be a good one as well, too. So it's a good thing we're going to be able to stay tuned for it. Again, the early window here for the NBA, a solid C+ for quality of, you don't want to disrespect the guys, chat. Star, just the star names out there is maybe a little bit more limited. But we do have Jokic versus Durant, so I'm assuming both those guys are playing next. Again, it is the NBA Cup tonight, so I would assume that. And I guess, did we actually even look up Scorsese here? Yeah, we were just trying to see what his next movie is. But yeah, I would assume both those guys are playing. If it is, high level basketball tonight. Oh, we got a Cape Fear TV series. Hey yo, 2025. Hopefully somebody reins them in a little bit. Ooh, a Gangs of New York TV series though. Could be pretty fun. Oh, Bastard. Actually, I think this might be something that we've seen in the past. Do we have to add this to the watch list? I don't know. A looming flood that ravages the small town of Birds Point, Mo? What's Birds Point, Mo, chat? Hey, yo. I guess a flood doesn't have to be just from the ocean. Is that Missouri? Is this like a river flooding? Hey, yo. I mean, wouldn't be the first time that's, of course, really caused damage. But I guess, maybe the hurricane, I don't know, other kind of storm route, apparently off the table at this point. I guess hurricane as a name is kind of off the table, though. Maybe, a little bit of a different movie than a storm movie. Oh, Roosevelt? Is this Teddy or Delano, chat? Who do we got here? I don't know who is better suited for the big... Ooh, Teddy! That's right, is Leo playing Teddy? Hey, yo, he is, chat, of course. Leo and Scorsese at this point are locked in. I mean, Leo is actually going to try to take Scorsese as a director from Robert De Niro, and it's going to be crazy when it happens, chat. Hey, yo, shut up. De Niro, is about as iconic and as skilled as you can get, but, I mean, Leo's just crazy. It is what it is. He's going to go for it. So, I mean, the Teddy Roosevelt role could be crazy. And he has just had... I don't know if he's worked with more high quality, like if he's just always worked with the best makers, like he hasn't dipped into the sort of the B tier genre film or whatever. But hey, and I was like, wait a second, Leota's in Roosevelt? But yeah, R.I.P. I don't know if that is going to happen now. AI Leota in Roosevelt? Would we allow it? I mean, if the estate said it was okay, as much as I would, of course, be in favor of that, I'm not saying we put the Ray Liotta of AI in instead of a real actor. But if we have the cast, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, wait, we can also have AI Ray Liotta. I mean, I don't know. That could be a little, sketchy. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just saying R.I.P. Ray Liotta, and we love watching him in movies. That's all. It's just, complimentary for his acting abilities. But, and I don't know, does he make a cameo in this? Could he have made it a cameo? He should have. There's no way he shouldn't have been like a, I don't know if that would have been a little too in-universe. Maybe that's just too much. I don't know. But he might have needed a little pause. Just a moment where he's either one of the guys that they kind of, like, hey, what's going on? Kind of have to take you into the back room, and they kind of, beat him up a little bit. Or if maybe he's like a dealer at a table. Do you even address him, or is it just like the camera pans by and it's like, wait a second, is that Ray Liotta just at a table dealing? It is what it is. Or he's like walking in and out. Maybe he's attending. Maybe he shakes De Niro's hand at some point. I don't know. It's a little, again, just kind of a nod to whatever it is. So we'll pay attention. I guess we can look up the credits and double check and see if we can get a Liotta appearance as well too. But no, I think that is special for the first film. And, Liotta, of course, is such a comment in that film as well, too, where, I don't know if the rest of the career, again, it's not something that you would necessarily tie into Casino, but because he is so good in that movie, and it's just such a standout movie for his career, and the way that he is connected to that movie, that alone almost separates this movie from Goodfellas enough, where it's like, just again, the missing presence of Liotta. And De Niro, of course, takes more responsibility in this movie. You have Don Rickles, you bring in Sharon Stone. I guess like the Sharon Stone for Liotta trade is enough to make this, like, again, just like a totally different movie. I mean, obviously they're bringing totally different energies, and Sharon Stone, I think had a better career outside of the Scorsese film than Liotta did. But yeah, with the cast being a very similar cast around those kind of supporting stars, Liotta being more of a little bit more of a main star, obviously, than Sharon Stone. But that's still combined with, new coast, new sort of vibe, lights and the slot machines and just the 80s casino, the 80s Vegas aesthetic. Like, it does bring you into a whole new world, even if, like we're saying, this movie is still pretty, similar style, just in terms of what the movie is for that gangster movie. And De Niro is, I mean, I don't know if we do like a best dressed movie character ranking at some point, but he is up there. And I don't know if it's like a Pat Riley level dress. And now that I'm saying that, maybe we have to go back and watch the rewatchables or listen to the pod at some point. I feel, did I hear that? And I'm thinking about that subconsciously. Like, did he method act? And he's like, well, who do I need to model my style after to be a great gangster? Pat Riley? Because that does sound like something that actually 100% could happen. And again, maybe also something that I heard and I'm just now repeating subconsciously and don't remember who to give credit for. So, credit to somebody out there. But yeah, he is, I think it does make sense, the sort of fashion crossover between the two guys. Of course, the smoking aesthetic in both the movies is top notch, and Scorsese is focusing on it. Really gives it some heavy screen time as well. But yeah, his ability to sort of just use the, pause, but the way he's able to use the cigarette and the hit as part of the emotion of the character is something that I think gets a little lost in the characters themselves. Like, a lot of times the characters are taking like somebody will take like a rip to like try to take like a cool hit, and it's like, I guess there are scenarios where that would happen, but most of the time I think you're just doing what you got to do. So it's just sort of, again, he's got that sort of natural element to his ability. It's just a pure natural, chat. De Niro, maybe he enjoys it, I'm not sure. it is what it is. But I mean, Sharon Stone right away, just, I mean, the Wembenyama of the movie, it is what it is. You know, just like immediately the league is like, whoa, who is this superstar? What is happening? I mean, of course, 95 is Sharon Stone as a star at this point, and she is, you know, if I'm not mistaken, you know, the actor in the movie, and not necessarily like the breakout character of the movie, because Instinct is 92. Yeah, Instinct's 92 and Recall's 90. So, you know, that is the perfect sort of supporting role rise. You get the familiarity, of course, in Recall, which I believe we did watch this summer as well, too. So, Basic Instinct rewatch, what do we got, 92 to, 2020. We got to wait till 2032? I don't think we have to wait that long. Wait, 2037 would be 25 years, I guess. Or 27? So not this year, not this next year, but next year. Maybe we make an exception? I don't know. But yeah, you do have, again, the supporting to the supporting role that equals notoriety, and then the more co-star role that equals notoriety, and then you land the role in the big movie. And again, you have the pressure of, I think this is, and I guess we could actually go through the filmography as well too. I don't know what and you know, again, with that being, you know, a movie that's going to have dialogue about it for sure, you know, and a lot of opinions. I'm sure that not all of them are going to be maybe, you know, age well in terms of how people thought, and I'm just maybe even from an ability standpoint, just maybe what was capable of her in that role. Again, I don't even know what the conversation was. I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know. But you imagine off a Total Recall, she's, and just, you know, I guess here we can go back and check, still not quite as major of a star as, of course, you know, she's going to become at some point in her career. So I guess point being, is this the first, like, kind of movie with expectations as a star is what I'm trying to find out here. Where is the selected filmography and accolades? Okay, here we go. Sharon Stone filmography. Let's see if we can get an order here of what happens. Oh, yeah, Police Academy 4 in 87, Action Jackson in 88. So, yeah, we're not even giving credit to the late 80s run as well, too. I guess you would probably put, like, Total Recall. That's like the mixtape run, chat. Police Academy 4. Not to call Action Jackson a mixtape, but it is a little bit of a to-be classic, I think. Total Recall. See, Total Recall's a big movie. Again, Verhoeven, obviously, big director. I mean, again, with Instinct and the budget box office for this, yeah, you know, the box office for this is great, but I don't know if it's necessarily lived on as an A-plus movie that people have just talked about. Again, it's obviously a movie that, if you go back and rewatch it, I think it's one of the, I don't want to say underrated, enjoyable watches, but you will watch and be like, oh man, this is like a 9.2 out of 10. Like, this is like a crazy good movie, but doesn't get brought up. If you were like, oh, what are the best movies of the early mid 90s, you know, Total Recall. It doesn't necessarily, again, not a name that gets mentioned, but so that feels like a little to-be kind of Pluto classic-y as well too. But yeah, you go, you know, crazy sort of busy year in 1991, but not a name there in the movies that I would say I would know crazy. Maybe outside of Diary of a Hitman, shout out. I mean, stacked cast: Forrest Whitaker, Sherilyn Fenn, Jim Belushi, Sharon Stone, Lois Chiles, I don't know as well too. Shout out. But yeah, you again, I guess Last Action Hero. Oh, cameo in Last Action Hero. Oh, and then you have The Quick and the Dead in the 95 as well too. So I guess, you know, oh, The Specialist. But see, you do have that always that kind of little bit of a time in there maybe as well. And I guess 94 is a couple of years removed from 92, so she's probably maybe taken some of those roles after the movie. But of course, you'll have the role that hits, but you're like, well, I'm actually, like, I just filmed these two other roles that aren't quite justified for my star level that maybe is after this role. And, you know, now all of a sudden, I don't know if I'm taking a backward step or what, but, you know, the movies don't match maybe the step that should have been had right away after a role like that. So I guess I'm not as familiar with Intersection or The Specialist. We'll just have to go back and check those out. But again, you're working with Richard Gere, Stallone, so not necessarily like the actor maybe type of stuff that you're having with De Niro and Scorsese. But again, in terms of stars and movie talent, that's still about as big of names as you can get. But yeah, I guess just, anyways, in terms of competition, 95 is the year, I think, where Sharon Stone proves herself that way. And again, I guess 92, like, we can't obviously sleep on Michael Douglas as an actor. I think he is a little typecast. Speaking of the gangster movies, I think Michael Douglas is a gangster, but I think he's a gangster because of his movies. I don't think he's a gangster he's not in gangster movies. He's just a gangster in his movies. Oh, we lost the league pass. Hey, yo, it is what it is. Let's see if we can fire it back up here and get these games back underway. And speaking of, I guess I reminded me to check, we do now have Denver versus Rockets underway. So I guess time to lock in on the phone here, chat. Sorry to the casino rewatch, but we'll be back. It is what it is. We'll let Scorsese and Pesci and De Niro drive around for a little bit here. But yeah, again, she has to go from an acting standpoint, have roles with Gene Hackman and Robert De Niro, and compete, hold up, and perform as good as we've seen anybody on screen, just charismatically in the way they carry themselves. And I think you do kind of see that a little bit in this role as well. Oh, we're not gonna be able to watch this Timberwolves game because of the blackout. Hey, yo, the local restrictions. It is what it is. Oh, Blazers Warriors. Okay, that'll do, chat. That'll do. The Blazers, fine. If we have to watch Shaden Sharp and Sharon Stone. Oh, chat. Hey, yo, maybe we're giving people ideas. I don't want to guess anybody's situation, but if they need us to liaison any type of, I guess, what do we want to, maybe we didn't be like, hey, wait, we have Sharon Stone's number. Why are we giving this to Shaden Sharp? What's happening? But yeah, either way, again, she is on screen with major stars and really, really going from an acting standpoint toe to toe with all of them. And like I'm saying, this is a role where she has to carry herself like in Instinct as well too. She's carrying herself as sort of the most powerful, dominant, confident person in the room. And you can, again, just with her own personality and her ability to bring that out in the character, you can definitely see that translated on screen. And she is, I guess, in some ways a famous writer in that movie. I guess I don't know if they say how famous. I guess she's rich, her books have done well, obviously. Again, she's rich, but I don't know, again, if she's like a celebrity writer per se. She's like one of the 5 most famous writers in 92 in this fake world. Whereas Basic Instinct's not fake, right? It's a real movie. It's a documentary, I think. But I guess I don't know. Would it be better or worse if it was a documentary? Probably worse. But probably not the right way to phrase it as well too. But yeah, again, you do have her having to carry herself with even more command, I think, in this movie. Again, there is a certain energy that she's gonna bring in Instinct that is a little bit different than in Casino, even though there is just gonna be a sort of similar charm that's gonna be brought out in a lot of the interactions. But just her walking into the room, like in Instinct, it's a little bit more kind of quiet confidence, but obviously in Casino, it is that, a little bit more upfront, I'm not, saying loud confidence, but just more, more noticeable, putting herself out front type of personality in the room. And again, just her being that elevated star, I think, as well too, does kind of, help that just, again, just her personality really shine when she's in the room. Like, you can really just, like even De Niro in that first scene, kind of just her kind of taking over the security screen, and her, again, she's kind of, being sneaky, trying to steal and distract, obviously maybe causing, chaos and look this way or whatever. But she is really, good at that. And and that did kind of remind me a little bit as well too, and maybe of course it's the other way around. But when we were watching that Focus rewatch for the 10-year anniversary, and you've got Margot Robbie in that scene, in the Mardi Gras scene where she's going through the the parade, and that's her first like real pickpocket test type of scene. You know, she's just has to just the charm and the energy that she carries as she is, you know, taking over the screen time there is, you know, A plus celebrity movie star charisma that you can bring. And again, these type of moments for Sharon Stone as well too is great. But then you do also get the acting as well, where again, I think maybe Instinct, and not to say that Instinct is greatly acted. I'm not saying it's not a great acted movie. I just don't know if Verhoeven was requesting maybe the same types of things, and the character was different as well too. You know, this character, of course, in a Scorsese type of way, has a descent. So you're having to act out, you know, that type of descent and that type of chaos that the character has to go through. And again, her ability to be able to just handle all of these different sides of the character that she has to bring out. Like, I guess, you know, we could go back and double check some of these roles as well too. Like, do we have to rewatch The Quick and the Dead? I guess so, Chad. It is what it is. But or Basic Instinct 2. Basic Instinct 2 has auto-played on Tubi a couple of times. And make no mistake, like, I'm pretty good for if it's an autoplay and we're distracted. Like, I'm pretty good for letting it play. You know, again, if I'm not paying attention to it, it is what it is. It's just like, I guess, the movement that just you know, it's just having it on in the background. But, you know, for the most part, again, it's like if I'm barely paying attention to it, it's like, oh, you know, that's Amari Hardwick over there. Like, shout out, I don't know, Michael Jai White. Like, you know, it's got to be somebody cool on screen at some point. You know, has Spawn auto-played a couple times? Maybe. But, you know, if there's an actor, or you see like, oh, wait a second, this is like a director, or, you know, again, even a premise. If I click out of it and I'm like, oh, wait a second, that actually sounds pretty good. Like, that actually sounds like a movie I kind of want to watch. You know, I'll at least give it a shot. Again, I'm not even paying attention to it, so it's not like I need it to be entertaining. I guess if it is entertaining, it's, you know, it's a plus. And then, you know, hey, yo, when we lock in, I guess that's when we lock in. But point being, Basic Instinct 2, that movie's bad. That movie is bad, Chad. It is what it is. And no disrespect to the people involved in, I guess, you know, it's to what degree do you say a movie is? It's just, you know, maybe not a Scorsese level movie. You know, filmmaking quality, a little different. I think even, well, I guess I don't want to say anything about the acting. Again, we haven't paid attention, so I can't say anything about the acting in that. But just a different level of movie. It is what it is. So yeah, this guy right here that like is kind of cheating the casino, and they like tase him and bring him out. They gave him a heart. Wait, no, did they zap him, or they said they made him wish he had a heart? Oh no, yeah. So they do take him in, you know, in the, I was gonna say in the gangster way, give him the 1-2 in the back room. But hey, yo, it is what it is. You know, you do have, again, could this maybe would Leota want to do this scene though? I don't know. Oh, do they cut off a finger? Hey, yo, it is what it is. Yikes. They're not messing around. Do they just tempt? De Niro's not playing, chat. It is what it is. He's got the, I mean, it's the slicked back hair that makes me think, and I mean, you know, Pat Riley. It doesn't make me think Pat Riley. Again, it is, do we have to, here, we might actually have to do some research. Let's go Robert De Niro, Casino, Pat Riley, and see if we get anything familiar. Oh, chat. They give him a break. They go, break the hand with the hammer. I mean, you're definitely not thrilled about that, but, you know, it's, if it's that or lose a finger, you know, it's a bit of a call. That's for sure. 30 years later, what the movie got right about Vegas. Joe Pesci scene and Martin Scorsese this whole thing's based on a true story. I guess I don't know why that they're just, you know, focusing on that one scene. Intense spoilers. Okay, nothing immediately saying that, you know, nothing that's like Robert De Niro cites Pat Riley as main influence. And then again, this is literally based off of a real character. Do we have to look up this character? Oh, ending montage. Our bad. I guess, you know, still the same as the beginning montage. Just 3 hours at a different time of the movie of your life. It is what it is. But yeah, I guess if anybody could have ever have played Pat Riley on screen, it would have been De Niro as well. Could they have gotten him for the Winning Time doc? I don't even remember who played him in the Winning Time doc. It is what it is. But yeah, clearly De Niro would have been a number one choice. I mean, Pacino can play any nationality, so I guess, Pat Riley, he could play Pat Riley as well too. But yeah, and Ayo, the luxury high rise type stuff, because the luxury is a fun element of this movie. You do get that in Wolf of Wall Street, but in contrast to Goodfellas, again, Goodfellas is a little bit more of, and there's an intentional way that they move about in that family, in that crime family in Goodfellas, but they do keep it a little bit more low key. And I know that there's a scene where they kind of go over their rules as well too. It's 2025. I feel like the movie quoting culture, it's not dead, make no mistake, but it just maybe takes a little bit longer for movie quotes to get ingrained again if I'm not paying attention to them. It is what it is. But, you're kind of watching them in passing, and then your ability to learn a quote from a movie, or every quote, because sometimes it's not even, the big lines as well too. And then not even to say that you would know necessarily all the times when those would be, but just, sometimes the little one-off lines that you just get to quoting with people all the time because you've seen the movie so many times and you just know every reference. So when you bring up, you're like, hey, you remember that scene from that where he says that? And it's like, oh yeah, this is funny in that way. And you both, again, everybody knows it because everybody's seen it a lot. But yeah, the luxury element of this movie is fun and very decadent. The robe situation that De Niro's got here, smoking jackets, like nobody, I guess maybe Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. Like, do we have to go back and look at Boomerang? There's definitely at least one smoking jacket scene for sure. I'm trying to remember. I guess maybe like a robe scene as well too. Like, hey, yo, it is what it is. And Eddie Murphy, obviously, one of the most handsome stars in Hollywood history. So I'm pretty sure, throw a robe on Eddie Murphy, it's probably gonna look okay on screen. But De Niro as well too. Like we're saying, his ability to just have the, like the sort of rugged, like we're saying, but still, you just looking good in the Vegas luxury life, and it really suits him well. And again, he's kind of running a casino. He's not necessarily hiding in the same way, and just the whole thing is, or I guess just his ability to move low key is a little bit different as well too. But then just the whole Vegas vibe is a great vibe as well too, a great aesthetic for the movie. But hey, yo, we got to turn up the scene. We got real acting. Okay, yeah, they're getting married, chat. Shout out. Of course, business is business. It is what it is. Ginger. Shout out. That's her name. Sam Rothstein. Hey, Ginger. Hey, yo. I mean, if Scorsese, and I don't know if we're we're the most qualified to talk about, like the ability to maybe write any type of character in detail, whatever that character may be. But Scorsese is got to be first team all casting. We'll give him at least the first team. He's got to be first team all casting for the female counterparts in his movies. It is what it is. Again, you're going just on the gangster movies alone. I mean, and shout out. I don't know where Vera Farmiga fits in this, because the role in The Departed is a little bit different. Again, it's not like the necessarily like the wife that's with them in the rise and fall sort of situation, but I guess, and I'm trying to think of who else is in that movie as well too. But if you're just going for the gangster movies, if you're just going like Lorraine Bracco, Sharon Stone, Margot Robbie, and what was the one we just said as well too. And I guess, do we even have to go back and look at The Irishman? Vera Farmiga was the other one that we said. I guess we don't remember maybe some of the newer movies, but that's a pretty crazy gangster movie casting run that he had there. You can't really get much better than that. We have to go back and look at our guys Singleton's castings as well too. But he did cast Janet Jackson in a movie, so that is, that's pretty tough to compete against as well too. But yeah, Scorsese is definitely, again, a guy that has nailed that. The Robbie one for sure. I think that's a little bit more. I guess we're not trying to say like anything. I would respectfully call it a Sam Presti draft pick. I guess again, not to see how that can be, or not for that to be taken problematically, but just to say that he casted her earlier in her career than, again, Sharon Stone was like, okay, this is the like star making or like the legacy kind of starting to defining type role where like you really start to add on to the actor stuff as well too. But yeah, again, Robbie a little bit earlier on, and I guess we could go through and look at Bracco's Mrs. Lorraine Bracco. I don't know, can we call her Bracco? I mean, I guess Baracho, is that the guy in Den of Thieves? I was gonna say it's a cool name, but again, I don't know if that's the right way to right way to say it or not. But yeah, I guess we could see where that landed. Goodfellas landed in her filmography timeline as well too. But does Sharon Stone outact De Niro in this one? Again, maybe De Niro is almost leaning in like full. And again, this is kind of like everybody being a little bit stereotypical of themselves. Like Scorsese is really, all of the gangster movie tropes are all on display here. And he's got like his longest runtime as well too. I guess is The Irishman longer than this movie, but The Irishman, speaking of guys stereotyping themselves, is even more so that than this here because, with them even having to using some of the aging technology and, it just seemed like they were all in a different place at that point as well too. But, yeah, they are, like we're saying, all kind of being, aggressive versions of themselves. But Sharon Stone is probably the most, and again, maybe it's her being newer as well too, probably just the most dynamic and I guess maybe natural is not the right way to phrase it, but it might be the best one as well too. And yeah, again, De Niro is just, with all of his like stares and stuff, like he is great, make no mistake. It is a little, and he's got Heat at the same time as well too in 95. So I don't know if he is maybe bringing a little bit of that character into this character here, because that Heat character is very, very low key and very, he doesn't talk to anybody. Lady, why are you asking me about my books? Like, he is not interacting. He's not talking. He is just keeping to himself and keeping very quiet. And the Jimmy character is not, the most like crazy character in Goodfellas, but he's not, at any point, wilder than Pesci, you would say. Obviously, Pesci is going to be the craziest guy in the room in any gangster movie he's in. But yeah, this one, again, he is just really trying to be more of a presence than anything else, and again, he's paying attention to all the little details in his acting and what the actual character would have done in real life. But yeah, this is just you really have to pay attention. And again, at the end of the day, all of the attention to details adding up to a great performance. You don't have to pay attention to see that De Niro's great in the movie. I'm just saying, when you, like we're saying, even seeing him with the lingering camera shots on some of the, like we're saying, some of the different scenes of him, just the way he has to express emotion for what's going on and just his reaction. I mean, that's why De Niro is so good. Maybe one of the best expression actors ever. And he's not even a guy that I would say has like a wide range of actual expressions, but somehow he does have a wide range of emotion in his expressions. Like, he's always got kind of the same De Niro kind of look, the De Niro impression that everybody does, and they kind of do the De Niro face. And, I don't even know if we can attempt to try to make it happen. But, that is just, I mean, I guess he's making it right there as he's smiling a little bit. So it's not too far off. But again, he's still somehow able to be like, hey, this is De Niro, like just kind of happy and peaceful and like enjoying the moment. Or this is De Niro, locked in and figuring out what is the best way to handle this guy that was trying to cheat him out at the table. Do I cut off his finger or do I just break his hand with a hammer? Like how, how intense do we take this here? But you're like, okay, no, this is actually a good, like a good moment of life for him. Like he's actually, having a peaceful type of moment. And, that is, and maybe as well too, if we're talking about, the peaceful side of life for these guys, and again, we're just talking about the characters being portrayed here. Sharon Stone's just acting the role that she's given. But the character of Lorraine Bracco, of course, is, I think, a little bit, if you had to say, if you had to sort of maybe hang out with one for a while, I don't know. I think maybe the Lorraine Bracco character is the character, though, would Margot Robbie would she flush the stash, I guess, is the question. Or Margot Robbie, ayo, Sharon Stone. Whoa! I get them confused. It is what it is, chat. Hey, yo. I guess, 2025, 1995. I was going to say, I would not be disrespectful. They're obviously their own character, or, they're their own actors. Have played kind of their own characters as well, too. I know they have that similarity of, being in that Scorsese role and him kind of maybe wanting to cast a similar type of person. I guess, I don't know, was he trying to cast, a Sharon Stone type when he was making Wolf of Wall Street? Because again, and just with what the character is and what she's tasked with doing on screen, it's not too far off of that as well too, to be honest, in terms of breakout performances. But they have had, again, I think different careers and different types of roles. And shout out, I think Margot Robbie has had a little bit more success maybe in some of the award stuff as well too, and maybe getting sort of over the course of her career that consistent notoriety. Like I think Sharon Stone now as well too is just kind of locked in legend status. But I'm trying to, we have to go look at like the producing credits and stuff, but I don't know if she's necessarily made moves into the business side maybe the same way that Margot Robbie has. Again, just it's just obviously the way they've chosen to have things happen. But regardless, the career that she's having, of course, as a producer and making some of these movies and the choices that she's making creatively that way have seemed to be, she's really making great choices and they're really paying off lately as well too, Barbie being a major one. But yeah, I mean, obviously the comparisons there are pretty undeniable. So yeah, I mean, like this is one of those perfect type of scenes, like we're saying, where Scorsese is showing kind of how just the communication works between the guys and the subtleties in the process, and you just kind of watch everything go down. The narrators, it is probably the best use. He the best use of a narrator of any director, because I honestly don't know. I know they were using it a little bit in that Frankenstein movie. Shout out to Guillermo del Toro. There are definitely ways that you can make it work, and I know if we thought about it a little bit, there would definitely be movies where narration, worked for us and wouldn't be a problem at all. But Scorsese is the only one where I actually think of it as like, a main part of the storytelling vehicle that is actually something that I think maybe this is the best way to put it. Scorsese voiceovers are the only ones that are actually like enjoyable. And I don't know if you ever, again, are like looking forward to a Scorsese voiceover scene versus an acting scene, but the way he's able to cut the balance back and forth, and I mean, maybe it's a credit to him always having these great actors as well too, and they're just very dynamic in these voice acting scenes. But again, you don't necessarily feel like taken out of the momentum of the moment as well too. So I know like narration can be good for, of course, the inner dialoguing and all that different stuff. And I mean, that's literally what the point of it often is, or, again, obviously just kind of describing what's happening, but that can just be a little bland as well too, versus, again, if it actually needs explaining, like you see the little signs and the little techniques, that stuff actually needs to be laid out. And it's not even stuff that, again, if you're just like watching the casino, that's the whole point, is you wouldn't even notice it. you wouldn't even know that this whole stuff, that all of this stuff that's going on, and it's all of these little subtle things and these little signs that these guys are sending to each other all the time about all the stuff that's going down and the way that they're trying to, run this business and make this money. But just having that simple narration in the background and just kind of moving throughout the course of what's happening has always been a super effective thing that he's been able to use. Like, has Nolan ever used narration? I'm trying to think, like, Peele. Has Jordan Peele used narration in his movies? I guess I'm not as familiar with his other ones as I am. Get Out is like the main one that you have to go back and rewatch, of course. I mean, I guess you don't have to. I don't know. I think people do. People will contend, not to say that Nope, I'm not saying people will contend for Nope and Us as good movies. Those are obviously good movies. But I'm saying people will contend for them, I think, maybe as his best movie a little bit. I think either one. I think I don't know if it's an equal 30-30-30, everybody kind of has their own version of what is his best movie. And maybe it's more Us versus Get Out than Nope versus Get Out. I think maybe Nope a little bit more controversial, just like kind of split reviews. But I think people will defend Nope as his best movie, or maybe most rewatchable movie as well too, like just ones that people just enjoy going back to. But I think for us anyways, Get Out is the main one that is going to be on the airwaves. But yeah, I don't know if anybody is able to use it, the narration as a tactic, the way that Scorsese is. And again, even multiple narrators as well too. All kinds of people giving voiceovers. It doesn't even matter. He can just be cutting between the whole family and everybody talking. He can almost play out whole scenes of, like, now all of a sudden the narration is just, now all of a sudden De Niro and Pesci are arguing as narrators, and somehow it would be fun, and Scorsese would figure out a way to make it work. But and yeah, I don't know if we have to do a cigarette count for De Niro, but he is gonna be huffing and puffing at the end of filming. I tell you, De Niro probably retaking stuff as well too, just to smoke another cigarette. I don't know if that's something that happens, but I was listening to a pod recently about how an actor, I don't know if we call him out, but there was an actor for a comedy movie that was saying that anytime that they could work food into a scene, that it should probably be done, because this certain actor was just in an eating phase of their life. So they were just trying to eat in every scene that they possibly could. It is what it is. It's not casting judgment. I'm just saying they were trying to sort of work in these off the movie elements into the movie to have it benefit them. And it's like the equivalent of, like, I'm going to take chicken tenders from, wherever you work. It's like, okay, if we sell chicken tenders, let me just pop a few in the oven for myself. And this will be, the contribution that the business makes for underpaying me. But that is De Niro. Like, oh wait, the movie set is providing cigs? Like, wait a second, let me just mess up my lines, like, once every now and then, and maybe I'll retake. It's like, why does De Niro keep needing to retake the smoking scenes at some point? Shut up. And I never think of Kevin Pollak as being in this movie, but he does have a good amount of runtime in the first hour. Like, he's not like saying a lot, or, he's having a speech right now, but wouldn't say, again, he's like a presence, but in the narration and in the, in the interactions, he is a guy that is around and been hanging out a little bit more than some of the other characters at this point. But, this is, again, the best part of Scorsese movies is this first hour, is this just, here is what is happening in these people's lives. Because, I mean, the first hour of the movie is already done, and it is, again, kind of a breeze as well, too. That's why Goodfellas is, I think, as iconic as it is, because, every element of and not to say every element of a movie has to be perfect, like, how harshly can we criticize here? I'm just saying that when a movie truly does transcend, like, all-time classic status like that, it is even little things like the runtime is just, for whatever the story is, dialed into perfect. Because that's the thing about Goodfellas. Goodfellas is 220. Like, Goodfellas is not necessarily a short movie. Like, now, if Goodfellas was getting released in theaters 220, I would, having never seen it before, be a little bit like, that's gonna be a tough one to see if they can, keep me locked in for 220. Like, it's got no Avengers in this thing, so let's, see what happens here. But it is the perfect amount of story for what you need for that Goodfellas movie. And again, maybe the main reason this is 3 hours is because you go away from that Goodfellas movie just being like, hey, can I spend more time in sort of this world and the come up of some of these guys in their day-to-day lives. And, you definitely get a good glimpse of that in Casino as well, too. Scorsese is not holding back whatsoever. But, yeah, this is, I think, maybe a little bit different in that way. And it is still, again, kind of almost perfect for what it needs to be. It is a pretty complex story. There's a lot happening, it covers a lot of time, whatever. But still, Goodfellas is one of those movies that is just start to finish. You can be locked in the entire time. And you do, I think, again, if you get to but even the Coke stuff is, is entertaining in its own way. It's a little bit of a different movie in a change of pace. And like I'm saying, just that Goodfellas slice of life stuff is like, I mean, literally the reason why it's classic. And maybe that stretch of the film could be, if we were ranking like A+ stretches in movies, maybe Goodfellas, wherever to the start of The Descent, is just, I mean, as elite as you can get. And again, there's still purpose to the way the ending goes crazy, and it's all good and it's quality. I'm not saying not. I'm just saying, because it does have to, at some point, like, if he's gonna pivot into that type of resolution, they're gonna have to cave in. There's gonna need to be getting that capture moment, and the pressure being on as well too. So it's about how much build up do you want for that. But just what he is interpreting on the screen there is great stuff. And I guess the one thing that we don't get in this movie is like De Niro goes over to his mom's house and like cooks for the gang. The gang is definitely obviously not as close in Vegas. That's the old school New York mafia stuff that is, I think, classic. It's why the mafia is beloved. And I do think it is why maybe the New York mafia is more useful than the Vegas mafia in movies. Or a little bit more, I don't want to say, you relate to it a little bit more? Or why people have gone back to it more for a filmmaking stance? I don't know, chat. Up next, do we have to dive into New York versus Las Vegas as potential locations for mob movies? What is the best city? Which city has the best mob? Rem and Sam's City Mob Rankings up next. Hey, yo, YouTube, don't take us down. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and we have to go back to meal prep corner real quick because make no mistake, we got curious. We had to take a bite of the little chicken drumsticks that we prepped again. We make no mistake. We made a family dinner, and it is what it is. They're definitely undercooked, so yikes. Hopefully the whole family doesn't get sick. If we're the only ones that healthy, make no mistake. Hey, they'll all be in the house. They'll all be in the house. I guess watching the live stream on Sunday because I guess we'll be the only ones that make it through. So we wish them all luck. We hope for the best, and I guess hopefully it is in time for them to puke it out before Thanksgiving, and we'll be good to go. Round 2 will be better, chat. Hey, yo, pause. You live and you learn, and at the end of the day, it tastes good. It does taste good. So I think there's enough cooked stuff like around, like it's just maybe like don't eat all of it. So if you don't eat all of it, but eat like a couple of them, obviously it'll be fine. I don't know if that's a pause or not. So I don't know if this is like a, everybody needs the feast type of ordeal. Hey, yo, for the fam. I think it is a manageable portion size feeding the fam. So I think maybe we can get away with just like if everybody gets like a couple, like just whatever, like twice. I guess, hey, yo, it is what it is. We'll just see. We'll just see what they say afterwards. It'll be all complimentary, but because everybody's nice. But we'll see if, or maybe we, I guess it'll probably be a couple of them are good. It'll be like a hot spot on the grill. I got a couple of them, cooked all the way through. So hopefully the ones with the strong stomachs got the good ones, and they were, portioned out correctly. It is what it is. But we got, speaking of that Rockets Denver game as well too, Reed Shepherd making a shot. I wish we could. I don't know why Prime wouldn't just let you air cast it up to the TV. It doesn't make any sense. I guess they want you to, because it's like, okay, I guess I could just log in on the TV. So it's not like I'm cheating you of your Prime, of like the Prime viewership. I'm watching it on Prime. I just don't want to log in on my TV. I'm just watching my phone already. I just want to cast it up there. It is what it is. Or maybe, I don't want to log into my own account, or like your own account onto somebody else's, TV as well too or something. You could just AirPlay. So maybe there's something with that. But again, it's like, okay, my account, the account is still staying attached to you. It's on your device. So yes, you're, the connected Wi-Fi or whatever, but still. Reed Shepherd off the dribble again. The heat check not able to go. So this is going to be the Reed Shepherd versus Jamal Murray show. It is what it is. Bruce Brown, of course, back on the team, taking it to the basket in transition. Hey, yo, and I guess he is the one tasked with Reed Shepherd right now. Reed Shepherd getting a little crafty with the cutting, the footwork, getting open, but he passes it to Aaron Holiday. Instead, and Brown responding with a 3. Oh, it doesn't go, though. Shout out. So is Jokic playing tonight? 5:30 left in the second. Do we have to go to a box score real quick? We might have to see whether or not our guy is out there or if he's about to be subbed back in. We'll see. Wait, okay, we got Murray going to the bench, 5:37. Okay, so yeah, Jokic is back in the game. Shout out. I was going to say, this is right about the time I feel like you'd bring him back in to round out the, finish out the quarter of your pause. So it was either going to be then or not. So I guess, spoiler alert, the first time that we've tuned in for real for this game, it is what it is. Again, the first hour of Casino, obviously pretty captivating. So is the second hour as well, too. A lot of chaos, a lot of things going down as well, too. Pesci just putting up numbers. Hey, yo, going crazy in this one as well. But it is Jokic and Murray off to the hot start with 7 apiece. Valanciunas with, and Bruce Brown as well, too. Does have 6 to start. And Reed Shepherd, 11 is carrying the day. So the Reed Shepherd show. I mean, at the end of the, if it becomes like a Reed Shepherd is elevated type of game, then, that's a good sign as well, too. Because you do need him in wake of the Van Fleet injury. Just in terms of the skill set that he may provide. I know he may be a little bit more of a scorer 3-point shooter type instead of maybe defender playmaker. Van Fleet is, of course, a good, or I guess can be a good outside shooter. Hasn't necessarily had the percentages to match as of late, but still a part of his game that has been there in the past. But Shepard can still give you a little bit of that outside versatility and off-ball playmaking, but then, kind of second unit type stuff as well, too. Durant just drills the top of the key three. Hey, yo, hand right in his face. The defense, though, has been, and they are a little bit of an effort team as well, too. Not to say that, all teams aren't necessarily that on defense. I guess it is lineup dependent as well, too. When you got Reed Shepard in the game and he hits another three, so 32-37, they take a timeout. It is offensively focused, so that is good. But that is interesting, Reed Shepard, Durant, Sengun, those three guys wouldn't necessarily... Pesci just going crazy, Chad, again. Hey, yo. We might have to... I know, hopefully, Pesci does get a little too crazy in this one, in some of the language. I'm trying to think if, Goodfellas, I guess, not to say that, I guess for better or worse, we don't remember any type of moments like that in Goodfellas, but there is some language from Pesci, obviously, in this one that's like, oh, script is, that's not great there. But, yeah, hopefully we, don't get anything too crazy actually caught on mic. Obviously, we're trying to be respectful to everybody, chat, it is what it is. They're trying, recognize the good parts and the good performances of Casino and those things that make it iconic. But, yeah, Durant, like we're saying, hitting some shots early as well, too. Pesci taking a lot of shots. Durant making some shots. Reed Shepard. But if you had, like, Van Fleet, because he may be, and I guess Reed Shepard, he could be a competitor for sure. We don't want to, take off the table what he can accomplish defensively. And maybe Denver is a decent matchup as well, too, because Murray, of course, great offensive player, and he can take a guy into the, he's got a little bit of that Brunson element where he can post up a guy as well. And maybe because he's not a guy that is necessarily taller than the other player, still would have an advantage because of his skill and, his sort of strength, size, whatever. But, yeah, he could still be an effective guy for him. But could he be a Final Five guy in our best lineup type of way, or, maximizing their two-way capability as well, too? Because, again, if you do have him, Durant, and Sengun on the court at the same time, all three could be above average defenders, but still not your best defensive lineup. And not to say that the Thunder are, of course, the bar that you have to cross at this point. But obviously, two-way thing now is, hey, yo, turns out you want players to play both sides of the basketball. But in 2025, that's why it's so important. And those versatile lineups often, trend that way with those two-way players being the guys that you rely on at the end of the game like that. I mean, I guess Murray, like we're saying, as well, too, defensively, is a guy that if he is guarding Reed Shepard, Reed Shepard maybe can take some opportunity, and then if he's drawing another defender because he's cooking, well, now your Murray matchup maybe is looking a little different as well. And again, if not Reed Shepard ascending from the bench, I guess no Tari Eason tonight for the Rockets. So Tari Eason, of course, is a, kind of a swing play. I mean, literally like a swing position player, but, a Final Five guy type for him as well, too. And, Steven Adams is just a different type of, offensive, defensive give and take than Reed Shepard, perimeter versus around the basket, the rebounding and difference like that. But yeah, it probably would be, my guess is it is probably going to be Eason at the end of the games that they're going to be running in the playoffs. That would just seem like the most dynamic lineup that they could throw out there at this point would be in here. Let's double check what's going on with our guy. Hopefully they didn't have a crazy injury. Somebody I saw just had a season-ending injury, and I was like, oh, didn't expect that, or surgery. I know Penix had the injury this past week, but I don't remember. Maybe it was season-ending for Penix. Was it partially torn, though, is the thing that I was like, oh, that was a little bit, different, a little bit less than some things that were announced, but regardless if it's season-ending, it's season-ending. So he is, I guess, 4 weeks as of last week, earlier, so Saturday. So, yeah, about a week ago. So maybe 3 weeks now from now, or now that's the first week. So yeah, 3 full more weeks after this one before he potentially is back from his oblique injury. And I guess here is he started only one game for him at this point, 23 minutes a game. So I don't know if they have on his splits here, fourth quarter minutes. And I guess that wouldn't even count for him being necessarily a Final Five guy as well, too. But he's 50% from the three this year. Hey, yo, 49% from the field, 50% from three. How many guys are, I guess better three-point percentage in a good way like that as well, too, is pretty crazy. But he is, been very efficient this year. And, of course, his defensive tenacity would bring that two-way identity that we're definitely talking about. So, yeah, that's super underrated as well, too, for just this regular season stretch for him. Because, again, now already I know they're going to play this whole season with the Van Fleet with him being injured, and we have to evaluate the team going into the season a little bit like that. But, again, overall, you're starting down a guy, and then every injury after that is, even a little bit more exponential because of the injury that you already had. But they brought it within one as well, too. So Jokic has, been outdueled by Derek Queen one night. He's going to get outdueled by Reed Shepherd the other night. Maybe it is a changing of the guard, chat. I don't know which one of these guys are necessarily taking over. But, maybe it's just Jokic gettable. I don't know. You need Reed Shepherd. We need the dream team, chat, for taking down Jokic. Pause. Wemby, we love the guys that we have now. Amen Thompson with the basket. Is that the Reed Shepherd assist? Playmaking? Oh, chat. He's turned the game. He has legitimately turned the game. And you know what else, too? It is a little bit the perimeter stuff from the Rockets as well, too. They can bring Jokic out with Sengun. And again, we've started, of course, at least here on this show, to give him credit for his defense. And I know you may not consider him an elite. There's going to be limitations in terms of him switching and keeping up with certain guys, whatever. Is he going to guard 100% of the guys in the league? Like, is he going to be first team all defense? Maybe not. But his ability to take up space in the interior and to know where to be at as well, too, to know what the other teams are doing, especially, you would assume, is, invaluable in that way as well. I was going to say a little bit of a middle linebacker like that, but middle linebackers, like in old school, like I was going to say, is Jokic like a Brian Urlacher on defense? But Urlacher, those guys are flying around as well, too, and like making plays in the backfield and stuff. I don't know if Jokic is like a, Giannis, of course, different type of athlete. We all understand that. But he's a guy that, of course, would like get the steal like at the 3-point line, and then all of a sudden he's going the other way for the dunk. Maybe a little bit more of like a guard wing type of thing as well, too. But all of a sudden it's like a perimeter-oriented type of steal transition moment. Whereas, again, Jokic kind of always going to be around the basket, taking up space. Maybe there's some pick-and-roll stuff for the perimeter shooting guy like Sengun as well, too. But he is really effective in all that stuff. And, hey, yo, there we go, chat. This Sharon Stone, the first Sharon Stone goes crazy moment in the movie. Hey, yo, it is what it is. I'm trying to think of another like person like starts to get unhinged a little bit in film performance that we've watched specifically. There's one that I'm thinking of that I can't remember what it is, but yeah, Sharon Stone is right up there as well, too. And of course, she's, again, her character she's portraying, the substances, all the different, mental and different, just the life stuff that is going on as well, too, and how that bleeds out into the personality is. And again, I'm not sitting here saying, to what degree of quality of representation is Scorsese sitting here and writing it. I'm just saying with the script that, Sharon Stone is working with, it is pretty crazy. And is there a little bit more, again, do we have to go back and, oh no, there is, because again, at the end of the last one, they really ramp up the cokies. But I feel like throughout the movie, they're not really like, it's not Scarface. Goodfellas is not Scarface, where it's like, okay, LaFonza heist up next. Like, everybody rip a line. Now all of a sudden, we're grilling in the barbecue, and now cut to the corner. Ray Liotta's, got the back of the hand out, like, hey, yo, like what's going on. But we do get Sharon Stone dabbling in this one. It is what it is. Pesci is dabbling. These guys are going crazy. And this may be, we talk about like all-time runs in Hollywood, and this is of course no disrespect to Joe Pesci. I'm just saying that maybe, it wouldn't necessarily be a pathway that you would have thought to the point where Sharon Stone, and I guess maybe we're not necessarily, I don't remember exactly if we're to this point in the movie yet, but the chemistry is starting to develop. And I mean, Pesci, I guess that's what Pesci is the type of guy, again, you kind of look at Pesci, I guess, it is what it is. I guess we'll say the jerkish thing, but it's not necessarily something that we believe. We're just saying that maybe some people out there would say it. You would look at Pesci and maybe think his ability to interest a lady like Sharon Stone may not be as capable as a guy like De Niro if they're both in the room together. But these scenes, like, Pesci is charming. And again, he's an A-list actor, at this point as well, too. It makes sense. But he is, again, like, legitimately, I guess is we're not saying, like, stud, is that the right way to say it in these movies? But he's got, like, that legitimate, player, pull a lady type of charisma as well, too. Again, not, shocking for an A-list star. But maybe even for a guy that could get a little typecast as kind of a crazy, psychotic gangster, a little unhinged, but then his ability to kind of, calm down and bring the charm in the room is definitely there as well too. So, you gotta give Pesci his respect. And at this point, Oscar's crazy roles, maybe box office with Home Alone and some other stuff. I don't know where that stuff goes. The royalties on Home Alone, or like the syndication on Home Alone. They say that DVD sales are still hurting, or like the lack of, like what that has done for Hollywood. Of course, Hollywood, of course, is just in a different spot now because of it. But I do feel like if we had to say like what DVDs are still doing well, like the Home Alone DVD, I feel like people could still be buying. Like you could that's just like sitting in a bin at Walmart, and you're just wandering around in holiday season. You're like, do I could just get the Home Alone DVD? I don't know. But in De Niro, pioneering the Zoom meeting fashion, the dress shirt on top, no pants on the bottom. Classic old school calf high socks. He's got calf high socks with the dress shoes on, and just like normal boxers, but no pants. Dress shoes, no dress pants is a crazy move. There's, Sharon Stone is with Joe Pesci at the moment as well, too. So it's not like, it's not like we're going crazy here on this scene. It's just De Niro is just chilling, just no pants. So shout out. That does not, I guess, no pants is not necessarily a 70s. I guess this is 80s, so not 70s. But it's not necessarily, but, his age in this, what is he like in his 50s in the 80s in this movie? Or supposedly, I guess I don't know what his character is supposed to be age-wise in this movie. But if he's in his 40s for 50s, of course, there's going to be a carryover of things that happen into the 70s, in the 80s. I mean, just as there would be in general. But I feel like pants and no pants and shoes, is that something that gets carried over into 2025 the same way? I do think that, like, the sort of sub-shoe tech, like the slipper tech, where now slides and flip-flops and moccasins and those types of things are a little bit more prevalent, where if you're going no pants, maybe you're going no pants and moccasins, no pants and slides, maybe you're not going no pants and turquoise dress shoes. But just as a standalone item, again, the fashion in this, I mean, he might be number one. I don't know, has like the American Film Institute have they done a list at some point? Because I don't know if we quite have, obviously we've seen, hot take, we've seen a lot of popular movies, and we've even done our homework on Tubi as well too, to see a couple of low keys. We just watched, what was it called, Property of the State of Property, something, whatever movie Memphis Bleak is in with Benny Siegel and Dame Dash. That was that was another Tubi autoplay, but I was like, it's like Memphis Bleak and Benny Siegel? I didn't even know they were in a movie, but I guess I'm watching it now. And I wasn't even paying attention enough to know what happens, but that movie is fun to watch as well too. I'll just put it that way. So I don't remember what the fashion is like in that one, But, and, you know, not to say that a suit is the only type of fashion as well, too, that you can have in a movie. I mean, I guess if you're going suit fashion, obviously, you know, Bond could be fashion. I mean, is some type of sci-fi suit super fashionable as well too? Is like the Iron Man suit fashionable? I mean, in some ways it's iconic and cool. I don't know if we put it in necessarily because it's not necessarily translatable to real life as well too. So that has to be a little bit of a factor where it is something that you could wear. You know, it is something that could actually be in your closet. So maybe, you know, in 2025, I don't know where we're at with the nanotech, but you know, in terms of a turquoise suit with a little, or a turquoise shirt tie with a gray suit, I mean, I might go get that after this, chat. I know the red robe situation he had on earlier was pretty classy as well too. We might be adding that to the watch list or the shopping list. But this turquoise suit gray suit combo is top notch. And you know, you can update it for 2025 sort of fashion as well too, and just can I keep sort of the color scheme and, you know, the same overall vibe of the outfit, but just how would this outfit fit me in 2025? You know, if we had a stylist and we were trying to, you know, go back in time, pay homage to a look, would that be one of the looks? De Niro in Casino? It might be, Chad, if we were going like a draft day type of ordeal, because I guess. And speaking of, I don't know why I randomly just went down this, you know, rabbit hole thought process real quickly. But I thought draft day, I was still trying to think of fashionable people. And I thought draft day, Pacino, football movies. He's not even draft day, but I just thought draft day, Pacino, Any Given Sunday, Chadwick. And that, you know, obviously shout out. You know, Wakanda is clearly one of the more fashionable places as well, too. But, and I guess, you know, I don't want to sit here and say Wakanda isn't, you know, stuff that you can have in your wardrobe, but they do have vibranium and nanotech also woven into a lot of their clothing, so it is maybe a little bit unachievable in that way. But you know, there is if we're talking about looks from a Marvel movie that you could rock, you know, that is definitely one of them. And just in terms of, you know, people's quote unquote normal clothes as well too, where, you know, again, just like, you know, Shang-Li's look in Shang-Li. You know, again, he's just like a guy, you know, bumming around San Francisco. You know, he's got a cool bomber jacket on, make no mistake. Like, he looks good. You know, I'm not saying he's not unfashionable as well, too. And Ayo, chat, we've got Wingstop just taunting us right now as well, too. We get it. You cook your wings all the way through. Not everybody does that. It's okay. But they do look good, chat. It is what it is. They tempt you. And speaking of competitive, see, chat, it is what it is. Maybe the competitive, is it get competitive when it's just like get it done right? Maybe. But hey, I guess you got to go step one at some point. It is what it is. But yeah, you do have, I guess, what were we saying? And the suit, because there he is. He still has it on. Shout out. And mainly, you know, accenting with the shoes as well too, like we're saying. But I think we were supposed to talk about what is the best gangster city. We said that we were going to say that after this, but that I was something that I guess I hadn't considered as well too. Until, of course, thrown on the rewatch here. Shout out. But the fact that, yeah, that New York Mafia is that sort of, you know, I guess, is it all Italian? I don't know. But, you know, just in the movie sense, wink, wink. But, you know, is it it is that sort of family-oriented, you know, everybody locked in the same page kind of vibe. And, yes, of course, you do have the moments where, you know, you have your rats and stuff. I mean, The Departed is, I guess, again, the inverse version of that, where it's a little bit more focused on, like I said, the police force, but I guess also, you know, the rats are a big theme in the movie as well, too. Hey, yo, I mean, you don't even have to pay attention to notice that. But it is, again, actually like a driving force of the stories. Whereas the Vegas one is a little bit every man for yourself as well, too. And for us having not necessarily grown up in the prime of Vegas and us not being like guys that, you know, have visited Vegas, even if we were going to Vegas now, I think you still, you know, get a pretty stereotypical experience, but it's still not, again, I think just the peak aesthetic vibes, whatever we want to say, aura, you know, Vegas's aura back then was a lot stronger. I don't know, But did Vegas have more Riz in the 80s? I'm not sure. But, like we're saying, it is, I don't know, more representative of the city in the area. But it is what was, how the family operated and how these guys were running around out there as well, too. Because, like we're saying, I guess, yeah, we were saying Goodfellas as well. I guess I don't know what other movie I was going to compare it to. But I think a lot of, again, maybe even, of course, those, obviously like some street movies as well, too, where the crime is, not necessarily the mob per se, but it is still that, same sort of principled sometimes. American Gangster is that a little bit with the crime family element. And I guess the American Gangster is, more crime family-esque as well, too, than maybe just, kind of because like even Scarface, like he does become a kingpin, but I guess is that the difference? The difference is kingpin versus kingpin in a crime family, or I don't know, like a Godfather. Again, you say the Godfather, you know what the reference is to there. Shout out Marlon Brando, obviously. He went ahead and just locked down that term with that performance. Just let me just go ahead and trademark the Godfather here by giving you a Hall of Fame performance. And that was one we watched recently, and not just, hey, yo, can we be the 170,000th person to say something about Brando? And, we're not even ones to know Brando's discog like that, or filmography like that. But you watch that movie and you're like, how is this Brando? Like, it is legitimately one of the best how is this guy movies. And I guess, is it fictional? I don't know if it's fictional in the way that I don't even know if that's a word. Maybe that word's fictional, but, I don't know if it's fictitious, or I don't know if it's fake in the way that, or I guess I should say, I don't know if that role is the same as this Casino role, where based off of a true story, again, you have sort of De Niro. You could say, I guess it's an you could say it's a biopic of this guy, but again, it's more of a semi-biopic, and I guess we need more of a term for like the based on a true story kind of thing. And again, Scorsese kind of operates in that way as well too. But the Belfort, I don't know, does the Belfort, and maybe that's just because it's newer and maybe a little more familiar with it, but the Belfort story does feel a little bit more biographical in a sense than this one does. But again, maybe I'm just not as familiar with the general sort of details of the story as well too. But hey, yo, Kevin Pollak back on screen. Shout out. I guess love seeing him. Not doing a Pacino impression here as well too. But yeah, speaking of, like we were saying, he was, Pacino doesn't really have like necessarily the crime family thing. He does, I guess, take over the organization, but again, he just kind of runs the organization, and there is, I guess, the loyalty to that. But it is a little bit, I think, of a different set of rules than maybe we see some of the mafia operate as well too. So, I don't know if it's worth going to. We haven't cooked up a ChatGPT plot in a while, but I do kind of want to see what a Scorsese sports gambling movie would look like. Maybe we have to save that for another day, and focus on dialing that in. Oh, chat, the aggressive headshot. Hey, yo, I forgot about that scene. Shout out. I forgot what this lady did, but I mean, that guy executes quickly, chat. Hey, yo, I don't know if it would be that. I guess I don't know if we need to break down the scene. I feel like we've done that a couple times. We're like, would the scene be that chill? But isn't that also sort of not to say that you want to fantasize, not to fantasize is, a crazy word to use there. I'm trying to say in the fantasy, in a fake, to use fantasy as like another word for fake, like to fake-asize it, if that was another way to say it. If you're trying to fictionalize, we'll make up another word. If you're trying to fictionalize a headshot murder, maybe you don't go all out, but, are you going to be able to go close range, bop, bop, and just kind of, there, and then walk away? I don't know. But, yikes. And, nothing really on the site, keeping the house clean. Effective as well, too. I don't know, does a silencer, like, really tame down the collateral damage or whatever. I'm not sure, but yeah, quickly executed there for a quick runtime for shout out whoever that actor was there. Of course, we've got the Rothstein Rise to Power pieces in the paper as well too. So I guess it is, in a way, autobiographical in that sense. And maybe Scorsese is just telling more of a story in some of these. Like where we were saying, even though Wolf of Wall Street is not necessarily like a strict A to B in a sense, like some of these, but it is a little more single focused on Belfort as well too. Like Leo does carry a little bit more runtime in that maybe than De Niro does. Like and Leota is like we're saying, a dominant presence in a lot of the scenes. But again, there are scenes where it's like Leota's there, and not that he's just there, but his character is present in the moment. But it's about De Niro and Pesci or the other characters being involved as well too. Like the bar scene is a perfect example where Leota has a scene, of course, with Pesci earlier where he's laughing, and it's an iconic Leota laughing. He's great at being a sort of supporter in that scene, but being a guy that can still kind of steal the show in a good way. But when Pesci, I forget what the guy is. It Billy Batts? Is Billy Batts the guy that he takes out with the "Go Get Your Shine Box" diss? Which, I don't know if we're gonna. Well, I guess maybe we do want another rap battle at some point. Obviously, it's got to be an organic one, and I don't know how you necessarily get there again. I mean, you never know. Of course, it gets random. I guess I don't know how the Jay-Z and Nas beef started, and I guess the Pac and Biggie beef started. It did start because of what happened at that studio, right? With Pac getting shot. So you do have an event there, and then Kendrick, I guess it started with, Drake and the Ghostwriter situation. There could be, if we dug into it a little bit more, of course, rumors of maybe some other more specific events that happened. I don't even really know what those would be. I feel like I have heard of could this be a little bit more of a starting point type of situation for what went down for the beef. But again, with what we saw this year, or earlier this year, I mean, it was fun, having Joey battle the West Coast in the way that he did, and Ravon and all those guys. We got some fun tracks out of it. Again, it definitely helped elevate some of the names there. But, immediately it wasn't the same thing, and we all knew that. And, even by the end of it there, of course, Absol and Joey were having the sort of sparring match, cypher ordeal, and it was like, okay, this is actually like a friendly exchange of just guys kind of testing their skills. And that's fun to have as well too. Like I'm saying, I'm not against that, but to have a major beef, even to see who those guys would be again would be crazy. I guess we'd have, or, ladies as well too, anybody's on the table, guy, girl, could it be, is it like a relationship beef? I don't know. Is that the next one? Is that the next type, Chad? Is it like, I guess this is like Cardi and Offset. Like, I don't know if they're like the draft picks here, but is it a split and then diss tracks that way? I don't know if that would be this. Not to say that, hey, not to get controversial. Again, I'm saying it could be a lady beef, but I think an industry beef or a relationship beef just is not the same. Like that's still like a real life beef. I guess it's still drama in a sense, and it could still be interesting and just from a tabloid standpoint, fun. And not fun, but you get what I'm saying. Like from a tabloid, well, I guess am I saying fun, chat? Hey, yo. But, from a tabloid standpoint, it could be present. But again, the industry stuff, it's unique to the game, or, just, I guess you don't want to say, obviously, I guess you could say I was going to say Pac and Big bringing the street stuff on, but even if you go like Vaughn or some of those guys, that's not great. Obviously, that's not even the best way to phrase it. That stuff is, a disastrous stuff you don't want to have bringing into the battles as well too. But maybe that's why the Kendrick Drake one was fun. And again, those allegations got crazy as well too. But the fact that it was maybe a little industry centered as well, so there is kind of a, kind of a good villain third party thing going on there as well too. Again, it's like these guys are definitely beefing with each other, and there's definitely in a sense, hatred here. I'm not speaking for them, but we listen to their tracks, so it's like these guys definitely aren't getting along. But again, it is sort of centered around the game itself and maybe a couple other factors as well too. And again, the allegations as well too. Obviously, if those being a driving factor for getting a certain message out there, obviously a little maybe misguided, a little crazy as well too. But for the most part, not so present enough, but still in the overall presentation of it, present. And like the judge said as well too, it literally went to court, but in the overall presentation of it, still approached as like opinion and kind of just overall like disses than they are. You go back and go, oh, okay, he's laying out a case here. And that is kind of why the Drake thing, I think, falls a little bit flat, because not even a little bit, but really flat, because he's taking it too seriously. It is what it is. Like, it's like, okay, hey, like, what are we doing here? But moving past all that, and if you're just saying I guess if you're just saying the bars as rap lyrics, then again, it's just like the most vicious, off the wall insults that you can throw out there, which is again why probably you're not wanting them replayed. But I guess either way, the fact that we have gone through a lot of these rap beefs and nobody has gotten the Go Get Your Shine box is kind of crazy at this point, because, and maybe Goodfellas is kind of a sneaky, like the Goodfellas, I don't know what, Rem starts talking for groups here, but the Goodfellas rapper crossover, hip hop crossover. And I'm just, like what gets sampled as well too. I mean, we see, of course, the influence of movies like Scarface and Carlito's Way. I mean, Pacino over De Niro for hip hop guys, I think for sure. So I don't know if it's, De Palma over Scorsese as well too. It might be a little bit, like maybe Taxi Driver. I don't know. Does that get sampled a lot, or vibes, moments from that? I'm not sure. Lines, but yeah, for the most part, I think Goodfellas is a little, well, or even like, again, like Kings of New York as well too, which was the one that Biggie really liked. Maybe it was, no, not Gangs of New York, it would have been Kings of New York that I think he was the one that he was really into. But yeah, you do again maybe have that one being a little on the outside looking in at this point. But Go Get Your Shine box, of course, would have to be a diss track bar at some point that you would have to throw in there. And I don't even know if, maybe we don't give that idea out for free as well too. Maybe if Drake needs another ghostwriter, we slide in the DMs. It seems like, again, Drake's probably already active in those. So I don't, maybe ours is not. If we make a fake account, chat, we make a fake account as maybe somebody Drake would be a little bit more interested in DMing, and we go, hey, here's a lyric that maybe you could, if you're rewriting a couple of bars in Iceman. Iceman, maybe, I don't know if you could rhyme icebox and shinebox, but honestly, I think pause, rhyming box twice would be a very Drake thing to do. And if it's resulting in a Go Get Your Shine box type of diss, I think it would be effective as well too. Drake, the only rapper that's like, yeah, I'll rap a written bar. I guess that's the thing that would be funny about it. It's a written bar. It's like, okay, you freestyle it and you're like, oh, hey, icebox, shinebox, whatever you're working with there, I guess, could be cold. But hey, at the end of the day, maybe we're dropping better lyrics already. But if you're going to take the time to write it out, and you're going to write, and we're criticizing our own lyrics, like these are actually something you said. But, if you're going to take the time to write it out as go get, ice, something about icebox, and I guess he wouldn't be dissing himself in the shine box. I guess he would be as well too. Drake, I guess we were hearing about some with that Poetic Justice track, whereas like Kendrick wrote a Drake diss as Drake's verse and then gave it to him, which I guess also is like, yeah, Kendrick would have written his verse at that point as well too, but which is still all rumored a little bit at this point. But regardless, I guess point being, and still nothing to do with Casino, not a diss. I don't know if Pesci has a diss as good as that one in this movie, but I guess we're just saying Pesci would have the diss in this movie if there's like a character with the line as well too that kind of comes in and has that line. And maybe that's what's the fun thing about that line as well too, is it just this character is like, this is his line. like this character was put in this movie to say this line. It could have been, but it has to be said to Pesci as well too. That's the thing. Like Pesci can't drop that, and it can't be necessarily like De Niro saying it to Pesci, because again, Pesci's gonna take this guy out afterwards. Hey yo. Oh, and speaking of Wolf of Wall Street, crashing or landing the plane on the golf course is kind of a Wolf of Wall Street move. I guess Wolf of Wall Street would have crash landed the plane on the golf course instead of kind of like proper land it. But hey yo, the feds land in and get it to go properly. So we got as we fashion track our guy De Niro. Of course, he's moved into the sweaters and the low-key shirts here. We got Pesci in a sweater. I guess it's golf attire for 83. But even still, we're about as locked in as you get. Ooh, and we head to a grocery store, which also, for a Vegas movie, makes me think as well, too, a little bit of a lack of food. Again, the family environment food, and I know maybe now we're, feeling bad that we just got everybody sick the week before Thanksgiving. But the food, of course. Oh, and Scorsese's mom is in this movie. Oh, she's at the store. Oh, Chad, shout out. I guess I didn't realize that. Of course, her cameo in the Goodfellas movie is all-time stuff. So it's not to say that her scene in this is, any less electric. She's definitely bringing the same energy. And she's doing a little bit more in this scene as well, too. That scene is still a lot of Pesci as well, too. And, De Niro's, I guess, with the ketchup going crazy in that scene. And, you got Liotta kind of the subtle acting that he's doing on the side there. But, yeah, shout out. I guess, going maybe more, I guess, I don't know, rest in peace. I don't know if, what her, I don't want to say her timeline is. But, I guess I don't know how many movies she could have been in that Scorsese would have made here recently. So, like, Wolf of Wall Street, I guess I don't know if that would have been a possibility. But, going back in time, like we were saying, maybe some of those other gangster movies that we were not as familiar, just rewatching all the time as well, too. We could go back and check some of those scenes to see her cameos. Or we could just see if she's got, like, a filmography on IMDb as well, too. I don't know. I feel like looking up Scorsese's mom on Wikipedia, I don't know what's respectful or not. So IMDb is, like, the professional website, like, the business movie website. Hey, yo. Maybe. So we'll just check the filmography over there and see. Not that Wikipedia is crazy. It's just like, wait a second. Is that getting a little too, like, do we need to read the biography if it's there? Like, we're just trying to check, check the roles. Like, leave her alone. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But, yeah, shout out. Love to see the appearance in the movie as well, too. And again, being this close together as well, just kind of, and like Stan Lee a little bit, Stan Lee obviously was timeless and ageless and looked great in all of his roles, but there is that, that sort of recurring TV character-ness to the similarity in the timeline as well too, which is fun. Oh, and they've got a Rick Barry free throw shooting contest, underhanded free throw shooting. That's a good one to compete in, chat, because I mean, I guess I feel like the half court one is tough, and if you get like 3 shots, if you're not an NBA player, that's really quick to try to dial that in. But also, I think if you're not going to make your half court in your first 3, you're probably going to take like 40 more before you just luck into your next one. But underhand free throws, you got 40 seconds. How many did he have? Did he have to make 1? Because that is, I mean, that's money. You can just, you can just go for attempts, or underhand free throw, honestly, pressure of the moment. A normal guy at the free throw line in an NBA arena, underhand free throw might actually just be the move in general. The safer move. I mean, was that the first one? Hey, yo. I mean, right, beautiful spin right off the front of the rim. Pause. Falls in nicely, chat. Hey, yo. But, again, I think it takes a lot of the pressure of the not the quote-unquote skill. But, there's a reason that, some guys sort of go to that. So I don't know if we're going to sit here and all of a sudden take the side that guys should be shooting more underhand free throws. But I do wonder now, if the opportunity ever presented itself, would that be a move that we make? It's like, okay, in a clutch scenario, I feel like that'd be a House of Highlights type of post. Would we go half court, underhand half court? Definitely House of Highlights, but I don't know if it's worth it. Probably getting roasted in the comments for that. But I do think that we could get that half court shot in 3 attempts. Now, would it be on the first, like, if we had a whole week and like every day we gotta go out there and take 3 shots, then yes, it will happen eventually. But if it's just us stepping onto a arena at halftime, whoa, Steph, little step back. Was that right over Klingon, Chad? It was over somebody. I was just mesmerized by it. Just hypnotized by Steph dribbling there for a second. Just a casual 20-piece by Steph in the first half. 7 for 10 from the field. A couple of 3-pointers mixed in there as well. Hey, yo, do we have to pull up the Steph Curry numbers at this point? I don't know, and again, we're only 15 games into the season, so like 4 games where he's under 22 a game to start the year. Could kind of balance the numbers out a little bit, but yeah, 28 a game. I was going to say he's been really cooking as of late. Yeah, he's had I guess he had a 9 in there against New Orleans, so Jordan Poole locking him down in the revenge game. 2 for 11, and he made a 3. He did get a 3, got a 3 against OKC as well, too. Only 11 points in that game. Hey, yo. So, I mean, that just shows you OKC and New Orleans have the 2 best defenses in the league if they slow down Steph Curry. But, yeah, he's like, 35, 40 a game outside of that. So, I don't know. We can't, again, take out his bad performances, I guess, to be fair to everybody else in the way it measures the league. But still, it is clear that his numbers are, trending up here as well, too. But I guess, yeah, he did have 42 and 35 as well early on. So, yeah, it would have been like those couple of games where he did have, only had 27 in here, but 16, 19, 27, 24, 28. For Steph, it is what it is. That is just going to be a little bit more low-key. And then 11 right after that as well, too, returning against OKC. But, yeah, 46, 49, 34. And then I guess so we just really remember him cooking San Antonio in back-to-back games. Hey, yo. It is what it is, chat. And then 34 against Orlando. But, hey, at least it's Portland's turn now. It's Portland's turn, and they are, I guess, losing. So, did we did get the win. Or, no, they got the win for both those. Dang it, Chad. It is what it is. If Steph's putting up 50, he's probably going to get the win. But, so, yeah, shout out. Of course, their team continues to maybe trend in the right direction as well, too. But a little Advia Jimmy Butler matchup is kind of fun. Oh, Butler! With the defense, steals it. Pods in the double, you got to give him credit as well, too. Made life difficult there. Who is the... Well, it's Kamara, chat. Hey, yo, I don't know why why am I getting Kamara and Klingon mixed up? Hey, yo, it is what it is. But Kamara, I was going to say, second team all defense. He's been active on the perimeter. I think that's who... Is that who Steph hit the 3 over last time? Again, I was literally just watching Steph dribble. It is what it is. But it was about as pure of a 3-point make as you're going to get. And he gets that little sway as well, too, going sometimes where, again, just everything about Steph's game can definitely be hypnotizing. I mean, it is probably the most, like, you'll just be, again, lulled into it. I know Kyrie, you get the argument. I mean, not even the argument. Kyrie does have the notoriety of probably the best handles in NBA history. But, whoa, yo. But speaking of Sharon, I don't know. Whoa, IT. Might have to get on the chop there, but we'll edit that out. But they may have to edit even more out there. Who knows? But I guess either way, hey, yo, halftime, half-court heave. Oh, not quite able to get it to go. Speaking of heaves there, Advia falls a little bit off the mark. So Warriors take the lead going into half here. I don't know if we can see what else we've got on the league pass as well. And, we could definitely actually pay attention to Denver versus Houston. Still a 7-point game. Thankfully, it's close. And, when we do tune in, it will still be worthy competitive basketball at this point. 5 minutes left in this game. Jokic with the spin on Steven Adams. So, shout out. Again, the Rockets, while they may still be like what is the ideal lineup, you do have, like we're saying, the versatility. You bring in Steven Adams as well, too, to compete with the size. So, is Steven Adams and Reed Shepherd that's your neutralizing Jokic Murray hopes right there? I know Durant and Amen Thompson, some of the other guys are going to have to do some scoring outside of that. Jabari Smith taking Peyton Watson off the dribble. Peyton Watson fresh off a 32-point performance. Was that not his last game? Oh, chat, now we're messing up the casino live stream as well, too. You got to pause your casino watch-alongs and maybe even back it up a couple seconds pause because we're messing up all the channels here. Trying to get this game figured out. Oh, we do have Utah. 18 seconds left. That game is almost at half. Utah up by 1 over OKC. Okay, so I guess if that game's going into the half as well, too, we're not going to necessarily switch over and watch it. But the Jazz. Hey, yo, that'll be an interesting one to maybe go back and check out the replay for that, or if the Warriors pull away here. Of course, we can definitely keep an eye on that one instead as well. I guess if this Warriors game ever does load back up here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, 72-65 at the half. So shout out Warriors on pace for what we got, 144. Classic, chat. Hey, yo, we call it the trap beat. Hey, yo, you don't want your defense to be a trap beat, chat. That is not good. I don't know if we have to compare defenses to tempos, but, you know, the Thunder, I guess I don't even know anything literally outside of that. But, yeah, if your defense is a trap beat, then that's bad. That is bad. You don't want to be in the 140s for scoring. So we'll see second half defense if it locks in. But I don't know. The way that Steph has obviously been cooking, it does not seem like it. And at this point, honestly, we just hope he gets to the 40 to keep the crazy performances up. But we do have Minnesota up by 5 in the fourth quarter as well, too. But let's see here. OKC down 1, giving up 68 points to the Jazz. Speaking of scoring, so the Jazz are going to score 136 in this game. Can we do math? I don't know. So I don't know if is that a trap beat? I'm not sure. But Shea got his usual 19 in the first half. Isaiah Joe with 13. AJ Mitchell 5, 2 for 7. Not giving you, I guess plus 8 from the field. He's still fine, performance-wise. But yeah, it does look like maybe. I guess has anybody even been struggling? Hey, yo, we got to check out the Jazz here and see. Yeah, the Thunder are 55% from the field, 53% from 3. The Jazz 56% from the field, 52% from 3, 11 for 21, and OKC is 9 for 17. So I think we found out, chat. Free throw line basically even at this point as well. So, yeah, Markkanen with 16 and Keontae George with 11. Speaking of the pick and roll kind of big man combos. Oh, a Kevin Love throwback. 4 for 5 from 3. Oh, we might tune into this, chat. This could be fun. Kevin Love and Filipowski off the bench, the Twin Towers. Who would have thought? Utah sends 3 white guys out there, 3 7-foot white guys to go take on OKC. Whoa, and Nurkic. And Mikhailuk? Have they played that lineup, chat, yet? Hey, yo, they might get canceled. They're going to have Markkanen, Nurkic, Mikhailuk, Love, and Filipowski out there at the same time. I mean, they might get canceled because that's just a chaotic basketball lineup that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, Will Hardy, have you lost your mind? But Ace Bailey, 9 minutes, I guess. Against the Thunder, they need to put the veterans out there. So, yeah, it's like Kevin Love instead and Filipowski. That's hilarious, chat. That's hilarious. Shout out Kevin Love for going back. Pause. At least for the first half. He does have 4 fouls, though. So that might have been the game. That's just going to be Kevin Love's stat line. It is what it is. If he's going about 3 points a foul right now, he's got, I guess, 16 points for potential box score here if the second half stays the same way. So do we bet the over-under for Kevin Love points now? Is that smart on the FanDuel live odds? I don't know if this is the time to go through the live odds with the game going into halftime. See if we can get a little second half funds. Are they going to screw us out of our funds? The casino guys, I don't know. I think, point of the movie, maybe some of the stuff has changed as well too. And I guess there is a little bit of that with the mafia where it's like, hey, this crime isn't what it used to be in New York. And there is a little like that with this Vegas where it's like the good old days of crime in Vegas. Crime used to be so much better. It's like, well, I don't know necessarily about that. Who knows what we'll look back and glorify about the life of crime from 2025. It'll just be, I don't know. I guess I was going to say it'll just be drug dealers. But I guess, it'll still be drug dealers in 2025. I don't really know. I guess we'd have to see. I guess, with just the updated, because it would still be those things, right? It would still be, like we're saying, maybe, and I guess, go back to The Godfather, what he says. But if you're if you're selling some type of drugs or some type of gambling money launder situation, it's just going to be, whatever the updated version of that. So at some point, it'll be the crypto mob. I don't know what we call the Italian crypto family. The crypto might just be the name of a crime family at some point. But the money laundering, it'll be all through those sort of systems. And I mean, I think crypto is probably just for money laundering at this point. But in terms of it being a Scorsese plot in a movie, that is basically the last step that it has to take at this point for it to be locked in as, a really solidified thing for American culture. But Chet with 8 in the first half as well. So, yeah, we'll see who scores more just in general tonight, Steph or Shea. Looks like it's going to be a battle. Shout out that Steph is going toe-to-toe with Shea, who's at the peak of his powers as well, too, just in terms of box scores, across the league. But Dylan Brooks with 20 tonight, so he's doing his part. Who's this guy, Mike Williams, chat? Hey, yo. Who do they got? Mark Williams? Who is on the Mike Williams? Did he get traded from the Steelers to the Suns? I'm not even sure what Ispia is up to at this point. But, yeah, Mark Williams with an okay day today. He's got, 17? Ooh, minus 14 from the field in a minus 1 point game. So there's been a definite difference when he is out there. Colin Gillespie plus 10. Ooh, 18. 6 for 11. Booker, 4 for 18. He gets a make. Whoa, right in time. 5 fouls for Booker. So it's getting close. But I guess it has been the bench for Phoenix. So I don't know what that says about Minnesota. Maybe it continues to highlight some of the issues that they're working through there, because I guess, again, Naz Reid just has not been the same effective, the guy that's been the same as effective from the outside as he has been in the past. But you still would rely on him to give you those good minutes and to be a definite part of the rotation. But Conley obviously maybe moving into a different part of the career and just not, relying or getting the same level of production from the young guys as maybe you would think or hope from has, of course, left your depth in a little bit of your spot. So Phoenix is not a team. They're like, okay, their bench is going to go out there and win them the game. But, again, for Minnesota, that could be a little bit of a concerning factor. And it is tied up right now as well, too. Jalen Clark, so I don't know what they have for injuries as well. But, yeah, I mean, this is their bench, literally. So there's really no difference to what, I guess, their lineup is at this point. We could see what they have for flexibility options, but this may be, Naz Reid may have to start getting on the Zillow and just seeing what else is out there. I don't know. Not throwing out names. I mean, I guess we could say Randall as well, too. Randall, it's not like Randall's been playing bad. He's definitely gone under the radar as a name and not mentioned a lot. Again, as Minnesota is also kind of a playoff team at this point as well, too, being in the conference championship the last couple of years. But 25-7-6 and 52-37. So, you get into the sort of, do you want to turn over the roster midway through the season? Just in general with Ant as well, too. Just changing over those stars all the time now. It's like, okay, we had Cat, then we had Randall, then we had whoever else we have now after we've traded Randall. But maybe there is a sell high conversation as well, too, because, again, the numbers are as good as they've ever been. I mean, if he is this good, it's obviously something that is probably going to be beneficial to the playoffs. I mean, assuming you get this number in that type of production in those moments. But him just stylistically next to Edwards as well, too, is a little bit weird. It's not the best, maybe ideal fit in the league. So it still could definitely work from a talent standpoint. And, we've seen the two-way impact be there for all the guys. But I'm just saying, if you could have a different look, I don't know if you could get 2 for 1 on Randall or 3 for 1 on Randall, but, that is a thing that sometimes you look at with trades now. You just go, okay, is this team going to want to bring back 3 guys for this one guy? Or, now who are they cutting and what kind of roster moves are they making to clear path for this type of added personnel? But maybe Minnesota's actually a team that needs, again, the added boost and a couple extra names. So if you could split the contract up a couple ways and then you kind of get out of the long-term stuff as well, too. I guess that could probably be an issue with maybe the Randall trade. I don't know. We can look at that market at some point. But and Minnesota is still playing fine. So, again, do we have to give him till... I guess if we do give him till January, that's another month and a half. And then the trade deadline in February, obviously they're probably more of a make a move at the deadline team. Because it probably would be panic. Again, not full-on panic. I don't know if it would be like, does Anthony Edwards need to start requesting a trade level panic? But it would be like the Randall thing's probably not going to work. Let's see what we can get. And, hopefully he is still at the level of production that, again, there's going to be good value in a potential move to be made. But just because of the way this roster is constructed, they're going to have to pull a Pelinka and just try to get like a 2-for-1 or a 3-for-1 situation on one of the bigger contracts at this point. And I don't know if they're, I don't know, with the way we saw the Lakers and the Cavs operate, I don't know if that's like a title recipe is just, remake your team in the middle of the season at the trade deadline. But, yeah, it is. And, because they don't have necessarily we need to do this to keep Edwards around. I mean, you have that maybe just in general anyways in 2025 with any of your stars. But he's not, from a contract standpoint, like immediately holding over him, the way maybe some other guys were in the past as well too. So if you have this team and go, okay, we have a potential a little bit more depth here, but maybe, this season it will take another step back. Again, do you want to waste these prime years to Edwards? So probably not. So it's a tough one. I honestly don't know. And, again, he's playing so well tonight against Phoenix that, you have to consider it. So we'll have to really watch, I guess, the next time they get in a primetime matchup against a high-level team, how he's able to perform and what that looks like, his role in that type of game. And, obviously Jaden Daniels taking a step forward because maybe you kind of banked on him being a little bit of a number 3 as well, too. Again, I know maybe it was a little branded, as in maybe, I don't know, bad marketing, but, you did have an Edwards, Cat, Gobert, I think, sort of branding. And, McDaniel's definitely thrown in there from time to time as well, too. But, it's a different type of number 2, again, without Cat. Like, Cat's a very definite number 2, even if we want to pause, we're not saying he's a bad player. We're saying just in terms of a role, on a team, he's a definite, guy that needs another star player to help him out a little bit. But, having Edwards there, of course, already accomplishes that. And McDaniels can be the third guy on that roster at best. Oh, Chad, don't do it to Rickles. Pesci, this is his worst moment of his career, is throwing the phone on Don Rickles. What are we doing? Hey, yo. But, yeah. Whatever we're saying about Minnesota, they just need to hopefully, have some of these guys play better, honestly, at this point. Because, yeah, even Dillingham and Terrence Shannon, I wouldn't, just because of, I guess if Randall's going to be okay from 3, then we can't say he's not a good 3-point shooter. But, just because of stylistically what Randall is and what Edwards is, and Edwards just at 41 tonight as well, too, shout out. So as he works back and healthy, he could be a guy that also has and that 50-point game, or that night where we had a bunch of 50-point games, that stretch of the season, or week or whatever, I say stretch of the season, but does that just mean we're going to have the one crazy day, or scoring is going to be up in these stretches and in these bunches in general? And maybe Edwards has a run here, kind of, Curry going crazy, couple 40 points. I mean, these are guys that do that anyways, they're awesome players, obviously. But yeah, as he gets back and healthy, of course, he is going to be insane. And like we're saying, the way he might have to kind of single-handedly carry the team a little bit at times in more ways than you expect. He could get back into, I don't know what games missed is going to do for him at this point. He's not necessarily at risk of missing anything. He hasn't missed the full season, the first 15 games in. But he is, of course, creeping a little bit closer, and you never know later in the year, I don't know, rest management or an injury, obviously, hopefully not, but, you never know with the rest management how they could limit that. But yeah, if the other guys, and like I guess like we're saying, the only one we would move on from at this point, yeah, I guess Gobert as well too. But we're just assuming that whatever that trade market would be a little bit more limited. But again, even that, I guess he's plus 10 though still tonight. So I know it's not everything, but he's still impactful over the course of these regular season games. But if you're thinking playoffs, your final 5 as always, it is, of course, always going to be like we're saying, a little bit of that question mark there as well too. But hey, yo, 90 seconds left. I just need to hold the phone, chat, for the fourth quarter. It is what it is to watch this game. Oh, Valanciunas just barrels over Şengün. Is that a push-off? I don't even know, but it doesn't get called. So, no, it is not. Valanciunas lays it in. And it's 77-78. So these teams are battling. And, of course, Denver, with the way Jokic is playing and the way the team has been improved around him, are looking like they could be, as we've said in the past, maybe the second scariest team in the West. So maybe this is a really good deciding factor. And, again, I don't know if it being the NBA Cup matters at all for the competitiveness of this game. But I do think it would be potentially just a good regular season game anyways without the NBA Cup. And, to be honest, maybe from a rewatchability standpoint, without the NBA Cup, just this game being played on a normal court would actually be kind of nice as well too. So Tim Hardaway Jr. with the 3, just like, you know, I don't know. It's fine. It's creative, but I don't know if it has the same sort of timeless feel of some of these other courts. But we don't want to be too standard as well too. We're willing to, you know, if everybody else is into it, pause. Whoa, hey yo. We're willing to approve the courts as they look fine. You know, I guess we're not going to be overly committed to being anti-play in court, but it would be a little weird to see it on the rewatch. I guess it's definitive, you know, in real time, but also in the rewatch as well too. You're like flipping it on. You're like, oh no, this is an NBA Cup game. I might have to stay around for this one. This is going to be really good November basketball here. Valanciunas off of the back of the basket, not able to get the midi to fall. So 78-80, Denver with the lead, but Houston with the last look, 7-6-5, 4-3-2-1 as the clock runs out. But corner 3 attempt, and oh, he almost got it to go, chat. It just spun out, but they still have a 2-point lead regardless. Going for the win there at the end of the third. Just a little prepping the situation, the scenario. So, you know, missed the kick on the try the first time, I guess, but turns out I guess they called a timeout, and he'll try to do it again if it was going to be that type of situation. But, hey, yo, chat, we're locking in. Don't worry. Casino, I guess we're not worried. We're hanging out. We're watching basketball. We're literally watching basketball in Sharon Stone, so there is not a ton to worry about at this point. Make no mistake, but we do have an hour of the movie left, plus ads. Hey, yo, I guess we'll push our bedtime back a little bit. It is what it is. But one more break, and we will be back. Rest of the movie, we've got fourth quarter Denver Rockets. We've got a couple of messages to send out and see if the family is doing okay and sick from the meal that we cooked them earlier. And we will be back to report later. So stay tuned, and don't go anywhere. Okay, chat, we are back. We got, actually, here, let me get the Prime game back on. Just realized we are not up to date on the basketball, but we are up to date potentially on the chicken drumstick saga. We did do a little bit more investigating. It is going to be hit or miss piece to piece, and I think the pieces maybe like 80%, we'll say 85% cooked. So I think if they blindly trust us with our abilities and they dive right in, they may not notice and they'll be okay. But if one of them was like a really, ayo, like a thick and juicy piece, ayo, then maybe that one was like, near the bone, ayo. Maybe that one would be a little bit more risky if they were actually paying attention. But I guess, again, only time will tell. Only time will tell. So fortunately, it'll be quick enough for us to report back to the in the next live stream. But, I guess we'll just take a quick peek in the trash as well, too, on the way out and see what is going on. But, hey, maybe sooner rather than later, because I don't know if we have to use the fact that these Scorsese movies get crazy as a reason to, make it to our bedtime as well, too. But we have started the full descent for Scorsese, or for the casino movie. Sharon Stone wanting to get out of the relationship with De Niro's character. De Niro throwing her out. Things are going full crazy. And again, I don't even remember necessarily the last hour or so of this movie, just in terms of the beats of it, plot by plot point, because we know where it kind of all goes out in the fact that, they try to take him out at the end in getting his car, and just the fact that, again, there is like a descent in sort of the chaos of their relationship that starts to play out as well, too. And I guess she's already had, like, how many more interactions with Pesci in the last hour? We don't even know at this point. But, and I guess the family life is a part of the ordeal for the, what is the name? Henry Hill, for the Hill family. Do they ever go by the Hill family? I'm not really sure. Do they send out a Christmas card? The Hill family Christmas card? That would be elite, chat. That'd be an elite, like, gifting item. I don't know. Maybe that's the type of stuff we can do with AI. Like, we can just reprint, and I guess maybe we could have kind of done that up anyways, but can we print up, like, Goodfellas, official Goodfellas Christmas cards? Like, if Henry Hill sent out Christmas cards, if Paul Sorvino, like, was sending out Christmas cards, I don't think his character would. I think his character was the one without a phone, right? So he wouldn't, have his picture taken and send out to all the families in the area. But you could see Henry Hill and Ray Liotta and Lorraine Bracco and the little kids there. They're a cute family for sure. I don't know, you kind of have the mistress in the background kind of hanging out. Maybe she's taking the pictures, chat. That'd be diabolical. But, you could definitely see them, pulling out the traditional family lifestyle in that way. Jokic from 3. We've got Denver still on the ropes here. And Jokic is passionate, chat. He's yelling. He's locked in. I think, does he know the competitive sort of the bar that this game is? If they get past this game, what that means mentally for this team? Because, yes, him and Murray have been through the battles together, and Gordon as well, too. But, and Brown, I guess this team is pretty tested, especially together. Those 4 guys, you do have a lineup of familiarity there. The lineup of familiarity. I don't know if it's the same sort of terrifying lineup as the death lineup that the Warriors threw out. But, if for some reason the Cam Johnson, I guess maybe it's still Bruce Brown there as well, too. But if your Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr. minutes maybe don't go the same way, then you do have guys that you go, okay, there is experience. They can play together. We've been through the battles with this group before, and we know it works. You don't have Michael Porter in that lineup, but I guess if you had Bruce Brown in the lineup, you didn't have Michael Porter anyways. So, yes, people thought they decided, to go with Cam Johnson instead of Michael Porter Jr., but really it was Bruce Brown instead of Michael Porter Jr. Once again benched for Bruce Brown. This time really, traded off the team. Jokic locking down Sengun on the perimeter. We saw Sengun out here cooking Giannis with the dribbles. But Jokic, stays in front. I guess, maybe he's a little bit more familiar with how Sengun might have to navigate the court. But he does draw the foul. I honestly wonder if the Jokic flopping there, because Jokic did sell that a lot. And I honestly wonder if that they just gave him the flopping call, but not a technical. Did they give him a technical? Let's see. Wait, are they going backwards on the free? Oh, no. I thought he was lining it up for the free throw. Wait a second. No foul? What's going on here? Okay, yeah, so no foul. Foul on Şengün, I think, is maybe what happened and why they're going inbound there. Or it's just, regardless, Denver ball. It doesn't matter. No foul on Jokic. Play on. Top of the key. 3. Oh! You think he would... Chat. Jokic automatic. You're surprised when he misses. Steph from 3, of course, we're saying obviously greatest three-point shooter of all time. But just in general, I mean, Jokic could be in chat. I mean, over under one interaction with Pesci, checked. There we go. I don't know why who knows that was the moment we just randomly looked up, but it is what it is. Back to watching Jokic. Shout out. Beautiful things on screen all over the place. Beautiful basketball. I guess, shout out to Joe Pesci. But, yeah, Jokic is, especially end of games, like, Jokic shots he has to make is surprising when he misses. So, right there, clutch moment, still down 2. Definitely plenty of time to make up for it. Reed Shepherd way short on the 3 attempt. Rebound, no good. Oh, another foul on Houston? Is that Amen Thompson? So Houston may be a little too active on some of these rebounding attempts. I mean, you love the flying around, though. Maybe the ref's getting a little too crazy. Who knows? And Phoenix gets the win. Shout out. We should pay attention to what we have on in the background here. Royce O'Neal, 22. Dylan Brooks, 22. Royce O'Neal, 16. Mark Williams, 19. And Devin Booker, 16. As was Colin Gillespie had the other 20 piece in this one. So he did get another bucket there from when we were looking at earlier. And yeah, Ant with 41. Hey, yo. Is crazy. Though -3. How do you have 41 and you're -3, chat? Oh, yeah, 41 in 40 minutes, -3. 24 shots. Not a bad game at all. Not necessarily like the best three-point shooting game, but still percentage-wise at a place that you would be okay with. And I'm sure these games are in the second half as well now, too. Whoa! And Jazz are still right there, chat. Third quarter in the mix. So, the lull of the season, there's going to be some weird nights. Things are going to happen. Shea, what do we got? Like 1 bucket and a free throw attempt here. In the third, still waiting to get going. And Markkanen, can go toe-to-toe with anybody. So if he's getting help from George and Filipowski and those guys are matching the role players, then, it's like, wait a second, all of a sudden the Jazz are good. Unfortunately, I guess, Keontae George, should he be more consistent night to night? Like, I don't know if we were saying, like, hey, Keontae George, we expect him to be more consistent night to night, but also, he's being in the league longer, so I know it's like, his second year right now, but still, at some point, if he's going to be not if he's going to be a good player, he's obviously a good player, but if he's going to be like an actual lead guard type guy, it's just like, at some point, the tier of player happens. It is what it is, but he's playing well tonight. He, of course, is showing the offensive burst anyways, and at least there is that side to the game as well, too. So Isaiah Joe still looking at a nice little 13-point run there. But, yeah, for the most part, Utah is... Oh, and there we go. There's the update. Okay, chat. 10-point lead for OKC. They have started to turn the corner. Or we literally just blinked and they just put 10 points up on the board as well, too. OKC definitely plays like that this year. They are definitely the blink test team for sure. You will look away and then look up, and then OKC is just up by 12. And you're like, wait a second, how did that happen? I can't believe the game changed that fast. And again, against Utah, it is what it is. Still a matchup that you wouldn't necessarily think would be crazy, but they do flip the page against anybody, regardless of who it is. And we've lost the league pass once again. Hey, yo. And we've also lost the remote, so we're going to have to pull this up somewhere else. But the Denver Nuggets get the lead, chat. 97-96. So I know we are talking about OKC here, but let's focus on the game. We're actually having wind down here in the fourth quarter. The clutch minutes, and officially clutch minutes as well, too, as we move under the 5-minute mark here with 4:54 left. Like we said, Denver in the lead the lead. The pass, they are in the league, and they are also winning a game against the Rockets. So multiple ways to phrase it there. The three-pointer from Cam Johnson is the shot that is able to get it to go. So do we go over and watch the Jazz versus the Thunder? No, because they're up by 13 now. So I guess the Thunder are probably going to win that game. We'll go back to Blazers versus Warriors and see if the Blazers can keep it competitive as well, too, which they actually have a little bit here in the third quarter at 98-92. Cam Johnson at the free throw line. Wait, what are we at right now? 4:54? Okay. Yeah, so we're locked in. And good to go, on pace with everything. Let's get the game actually going here. Oh, wait a second. We just paused everything on the TV. How did we not get it playing? What are we doing, chat? We're slacking. Okay. Hour 3. We got to power through. We don't want to slow down. We don't want to all of a sudden start, crazy mistakes. Or wait a second, casino. We don't want to pause casino, chat. Hey, yo, add to the runtime. Let's see here. Okay, we are back and going. Who even knows? I guess I was gonna say, who even knows what we started ranting about that distracted us for the first hour? But I guess meal prep corner, and all of a sudden, maybe should we have cooked the chicken as long as we ranted about it, chat? Maybe that would have been a good idea to actually get it to turn out. But Durant, speaking of cooking, oh, is that Jamal Murray with the block? Kevin Durant, the 7-footer, Jamal Murray, shout out. Sneaky guard blocker, I think. I don't know if he's a John Wall. Whoa, defense on the other end from the Rockets get the block on Jokic. I didn't see who that was. There's a couple defenders there. But regardless, they get the stop. Denver 3-point lead. 4 minutes left. Sengun on the roll. The corner 3 to Jabari Smith. Oh! Not able to get it to go. A play that they've run time and time again. Durant top of the key. He also misses. The offensive rebounding from the Rockets. Pause. Can we say the tapbacks? Hey, yo. Jokic definitely, down there fighting. And a good rebounder, of course, himself. Sneaky, one of the better in the league. I mean, obviously a triple-double guy. But the Rockets had a lot of guys in the perimeters there, and they were still able to bat those back and at least get attempts. Obviously not able to get it to convert. But shout out. Did Peyton Watson block that? Peyton Watson honestly might have blocked that, which would, I guess, maybe lead to something different than a foul in that possession. But either way, Reed Shepherd at the free throw line. 2 free throws for him, a chance to make this a 1-point game. 98-99. The race to 100, I guess. Oh! I would say our bad Rockets fans, but, we only feel so bad for you as the in-state rival. So, first one missed for Reed Shepherd. Steven Adams in the game for Sengun. So, is that fouls, or do they go offense-defense here and have him guard Jokic on the other end? Because, again, Sengun's your closer, but this is why you have Durant here, so you maybe can go matchup based in that way as well too. So Adams, Durant, Amen Thompson, Reed Shepherd, and Jabari Smith. We'll see what happens. Adams on Jokic, and he is now in the pick and roll, having to drop, having to keep up. Shout out Jokic right over the top. It's easy, chat. Pause. It's too easy. I mean, he's one of, like we said, the great clutch shot makers. And that little mid-range is just going to be automatic every time. Amen Thompson, the crazy athletic drive, but just kicks it right out to the corner. Unfortunately, Jabari Smith able to get the roll to go. Wait, did Adams tip that back in? What happened there? I guess we didn't see what happened after the drive. I clicked the screen and the play control graphics covered everything up accidentally. But we got Cam Johnson gets the ball back and dribbling around Jokic. I mean, you assume every possession now ends in Jokic, but the passing and the ball movement is on point for Denver right now. The defense for Houston locked in. What is going to win out at the end of the day? Denver's offense gets the Murray mid-range to go. The ball movement was A+ impressive there, chat, because Houston is flying around right now. And, I mean, this is, of course, a Denver team led by an unselfish Jokic, but the way that it can hop around the perimeter as well, too, is you can see very impressive. And even Murray's ability to cut and relocate is very underrated as well, just in terms of his greater, overall game in the landscape of the league. So, Rockets timeout, 2:12. The last 2 minutes or the last 20 minutes of Goodfellas, chat. Hey, yo, who would have thought we would have been here for the end of Goodfellas, and then the end of the NBA game would drag out past that. But we'll see what happens with replays here, with fouls, with situational basketball. But I feel like we are in for, at least in some ways, an action-packed final 2 minutes. But we'll see how, we may jinx that there. But Denver, 4-point lead, 87% on the win percentage. Hey, yo, some people call it meaningless, but we still look at it and we still reference it. So I don't know if it would be meaningless if that were the case, if it's something that we need in our everyday sporting lives. But we have both teams with 3 losses right now as well, too. One more win for Denver, Scheduling not going to be locked in for every team. And Golden State up by 4 as the fourth quarter is getting close. We've got about to hit a minute 30 left in the third here. Healed off the screen. A little healed Jackson Trice Davis 2-man game. Hey, yo, I know his 3 names are Jackson Trice Davis, Jackson Davis Trice, Trice Davis, Jackson Davis. It's one of those. It's those 3 names. I honestly just have no idea what order they're in. So shout out. Hopefully we got it right there. But yeah, Rickles, chat. Ayo, I feel like it's been a minute since we've seen Rickles on the screen. Finally recovered from getting the throne tossed at him by Joe Pesci. Took him a second. But, the little load management from Rickles, needed to take a couple games off, but he's back. He's ready to go. So, yeah, there's that red-black suit combo from our guy De Niro as well. I do think the gray turquoise is going to win the day, but the red-black is a pretty sleek, Vegas-y luxury upper-class combo as well, too. You gotta give it his respect. Oh, and you get the phone call. Pesci got things lined up. He is trying to get sneaky. Sharon Stone in the corner booth, as you are when you sort of plan mischievous things in a club. Corner booth is always going to be the place. So we'll see. And Will Richard has been getting some minutes tonight for OKC. I mean, do we just pivot from De Niro to Will Richard? Shout out. It is what it is. Little opposite ends of the scale. Oh, and I forgot. Hey, yo, Sharon Stone. She tie the kid to the bed is crazy work. Hey, yo. That's the. I guess we go back and watch the last couple minutes of Goodfellas, but I feel like for the most part of that movie, they're at least trying to protect the kids. And I know De Niro trying to do that here, but Sharon Stone really going full villain a little bit there as well. Pesci, of course, trying to be the sneaky guy that he is in this one, playing both sides. But, we got corner. Is that Caleb Love? Corner 3. We can get a double check verification here, but Portland's going toe for toe for 3-pointers with Golden State right now. Keep it in the game. Sissoko, we can confirm. City Sissoko for 3 in the corner. Butler, the step through, not able to convert there as well. The defense, he's played good defense as well, but the defense from Butler has definitely been there. Defense on Butler, the wings, they have the ability to throw some guys in his direction for sure. So no Steph on the court to end the third. I guess, I don't know, Warriors rotations. Do we get him playing just like a crazy amount in a row in the fourth quarter here as they go foot on the gas? Oh, chat. If we hit our bedtime live on stream, I guess, welcome to Rem and Sam, the first ever Rem and Sam overnight stream. It is what it is. But end of the third, Warriors up by 4. I guess that reminds me, we've got 90 seconds left. 90 seconds in Warriors versus or Denver versus Houston. I don't know why the game wasn't sound on the speaker. I had it turned down too low. Hey, yo, I'm forgetting about it over here. But 2-point lead by the Rockets. So Sengun back on the court. There's no way they can close this game without Sengun. Offense, defense, you just got to take your chances. Sengun is arguably your best player on your team. And Jokic, give him a little room for 3, but Sengun's going to operate He's going to set up Durant. Durant versus Peyton Watson. So now you got to go matchup based again. You know, same a little bit like Houston has to. Both these teams countering each other. You know, again, versus them just kind of being like, here are our lineups and just deal with them. But Jokic, Cam Johnson, Hardaway, and Peyton Watson and Murray is one that you could actually see. Of course, you know, Gordon and here, let's double check what we have going on with Gordon as well too. Was Gordon the random guy that we, not random, but you know, was Gordon the name we mentioned earlier that was like, who was maybe injured with something a little worse than we thought? So I don't know. We'll see here. Probable for Friday's game. So probable, you know, means maybe. And I guess that maybe was not quite. It is what it is. Wait, let me double check. Did he start at all? Okay, yeah, but he just played 3 minutes. I was going to say, we haven't even seen him out on the court. So, you know, I guess I don't remember if he got injured again early in the game. I guess when did we say we started locking in? I forget. You can go back and check that timestamp. But, yeah, with him out of the lineup, you know, again, you're obviously going to need him in this type of Final Five situation and against this team as well, too. He does, of course, as the versatile, you know, forward type of athlete, fit really well and can even guard Durant, switch a little bit on some of these guys. But, you know, Peyton Watson, again, if he's generating some offense, is a guy that you could have out there switching and competing, maybe even a little quicker perimeterly. Laterally? Perimeterly? I don't know what the right way to say it is. You know, maybe a little quicker on the perimeter, keeping up with some people as well, too, than Aaron Gordon. But 24 for Murray tonight. A little classic kind of, like we're saying, Jokic-Murray balance. 40 minutes for Murray as well, too. Shout out is crazy. Jokic at 39. Something they're not going to be able to sustain, but maybe they do actually want the NBA Cup. Maybe they're trying. Because, again, Jokic is out here competing. He's coaching these guys up. He's yelling, oh, Pesci, take it easy, Pesci. Take it easy. Hey, yo. We got people going crazy here. Pesci is, I guess everybody in the scene acting psycho chat. It is what it is. But, yeah, Tim Hardaway Jr., a nice little 12 points as well, too. Murray, 10 assists. So 25 and 10. Jokic, 32, 9, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Wait, I just got a notification chat, but I don't know what it is. Oh, wait. No space left on. Oh, chat, we running out of space. Once again, recording issues, running out of space. That's okay. I think we've paid enough homage on the pod side of things for Casino. It is what it is. I guess we always do the promo for the YouTube live streams after the pod cuts out because that's when we think about it. But it is what it is, just in case you need the promo while you're here. Shout out, of course, you can join us here on the YouTube Live. You can catch the live streams in full later on the podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, whatever podcast platform you can find Rim and Sam on. You know, there are the episodes right there for you guys to follow along to as well. De Niro with a shotgun. Hey, yo. Shout out, of course. A limited shotgun usage, I would say, in Scorsese Mafia movies, I guess specifically between these two. You know, some handgun usage, of course. Henry pistol whips that guy early on. But they don't really get into sort of bigger artillery on screen. Hey, yo. Pause. I don't know if it's a pause or not. But I guess I could be wrong. Have to go back and watch. Maybe we throw on Goodfellas to go to sleep after this. Hey, yo. It'll be a quick runtime on the watch. That's for sure. Pesci just decides to destroy the cars. It is what it is. He's going to be Joe Petty every step of the way, chat. Got him. It is what it is. Perfect nickname for him. But, whoa, 18 seconds left. 16 seconds. What does the screen say? 16 seconds left. Denver up 3. Cam Johnson a chance to make it 4. Okay, we've got both events right now on a buzzer beater timeline. It is what it is. Sharon Stone, who's going to, you know, hit a half court first? Sharon Stone or Jokic? Hey, yo. Both people, A-plus Hall of Famers, you know, A-plus performances. I don't know if De Niro the Murray of this game or of this movie, and Sharon Stone is the Jokic. That might be the The comp, honestly, though, again, everybody is obviously fantastic. And does he have the cops? Of course he has the cops. There's no way in a mob movie the head guy, Paul, the top guy, that might be possible too. The boss man always has the cops. It is what it is. Maybe he even is the cops at some point. That I guess would be maybe even The Departed. Sven Goon slithers in for the little layup, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They're going to foul down 3 with 10. So I guess if he does miss, there is an opportunity. And maybe they get one more foul opportunity after that, but this is, I would say, pretty much to seal the game. So Stone, how is she going to get out of this one, chat? Hey, yo, it is what it is. But we'll see, I guess, how our guy Sam handles his last minutes at the top here. Shout out. But yeah, this is about as, eccentric acting as Sharon Stone has done as well too. So that's what I'm saying. Just juxtaposition with De Niro's, and not in every scene. Like we said, we saw him kind of go crazy a little bit earlier. Oh, he did miss a free throw, chat. Of course he did. Of course he did. So 110-106, keeping it within reach, but still a 2-score game. But, Denver leaving the door open, 2025. Nobody can just close out a basketball game now. Nobody can just go win a game. Even Golden State's up by 1. Make it 0. Make it -1. Oh! Portland doesn't quite get the attempt to go, but the free throws for them as well, too. For now, them to take the lead with 9 minutes left. So you imagine that momentum switching. Hey, once Steph gets back in the game, though, I imagine the Warriors, with the best player on the court, could probably close this one out. And here, I guess we could go double check and see if Steph is at his 40 piece or if he slowed down. OKC 121, Utah 97. So at one point on pace to put up 135, 136, whatever. Now, will they? Well, I guess 97 with 7 minutes. They're going to get 100. But they may not get to past 112-ish type range. Shout out the 112. I don't know. I guess so. But, yeah, for Pods at 20 and Steph at 27. So 7 points so far through basically a quarter there. And -1 for Steph, and the game is tied. Moses Moody -10. Quentin Post, in typical Quentin Post fashion, I imagine he has the highest plus-minus on the team the entire time. Hey, Pods, though, like we said, with a great day as well, too. And 8 for 10 from the free throw line. So, yeah, only 5 for 9 from the field and still managing to get to that 20 piece is impressive. Impressive stuff. So 10.3. Oh, and of course Jabari Smith hits the 3. This is why you make your free throws. This is why you foul and give yourself an opportunity as well too, in case they miss, and in case you do go back down and hit a 3, then you're back in the same boat you were earlier. So with who do we got as a defender there? Jones? Who's Jones for the Denver Nuggets, chat? Hey, yo. We've got Jones with a good contest in the corner, but Jabari Smith falling away. The problem is not having to think about it, just catch and shoot. Easy muscle memory, lock in and get it to go easily. But, yeah, the Rockets keep themselves alive here with 5.5. So, again, you got to get a steal and a foul, and it's going to be a close call with just that amount of time. But you're going to at least have some amount of time, I would assume, left on the clock. Hopefully it is, like we're saying, just enough to be able to draw up a play at some point and get a good look as well, too. Because even just, maybe even one dribble for Durant, can we just get something simple? Doesn't have to be super crazy. But at least lets you have the opportunity for him to get open before and after the inbound, which would be ideal. And, of course, more time to set up into a shot, or he's going to rush a shot because there's, just a couple seconds left. But we'll see if they can cleanly inbound this for the Denver Nuggets. To Jokic. Tapped out of bounds by Amen Thompson. Tapped out of bounds, but it's still going to be Denver ball. But the athleticism and the defense is causing problems. It's almost causing turnovers. So they go with Koji on Jokic now. Maybe they're like Amen Thompson, free safety. Double him, you know, flying over for help. Amen Thompson on Jamal Murray right now. Trying to read the play as well, too. Maybe get him in switching range. And it's once again tapped out of bounds almost. Jokic, sure-handed, able to corral it in. 2.7. So he goes up and makes both of these. And it's a... And I guess on that 3 as well, too, that's one... That's going to make up for that missed free throw in an extra way that the Denver Nuggets had, you know, balancing that out. So he can get both these to go, but they will still have a chance to tie with 2.7 left. So that's what we're saying about, you know, at least giving yourself an opportunity to get a look there if you do get good defense on the inbound and eventually just need to go that direction. Because they do not have a timeout, so they do need to make some kind of quick decisions here. And hopefully Udoka is just locked in, yelling from the sideline. We've got Jokic, the first one to go. No surprise. The second one, important still. Pushes it to that three-point lead, of course. But we'll see if the Blazers can respond. Ooh, if he misses it and they can get to the basket, 2.8, it's going to be a close call. Or did I say the Blazers? Hey, yo. The Rockets, I guess, is the team that they're playing. If I've said the Blazers before, it is what it is. We're still thinking about the Blazers. Sengun from half court. Oh! Almost able to get it to go. It is what it is. Close call. Denver 3-point win. They steal it, chat. Hey, yo. In the fourth quarter, outscore them by 1 point in the fourth quarter. Win the game by 3. Jokic crazy. Murray pretty good tonight. And hopefully Aaron Gordon gets back healthy for them as well, too. But the crime organization, the members of the Vegas casino life starting to get captured, starting to get locked away, starting to get punished for their crimes against humanity, chat. They're illegal gambling rings. Hey, yo, lock them up. This guy in the ventilator, chat, the wheelchair, he is the first one in line. Stop the line, push him to the front of the line, and get everybody moving again after that pause. But the law, of course, cracking down in these movies. And, you know, again, outside of The Departed, I like the fact that there's not like a detective chasing these guys all the time. There's not, you know, cops always present. They're sometimes present to show how corrupt the families can be, how far the powers extend, but for the most part, again, they're just not involved. It's about the crime, it's about the family, it's about the dynamic and the processes of that, not about the cat and mouse chase. Like, they're gonna get the cops are chasing them. Guess what? Shocker, they're criminals and the cops are chasing them, and the cops might get him at the end. So if they arrest him, guess what? They're gonna go to jail. So we got a sneaky little drive-by, walk-by, murder attempt in the parking lot, classic, you know, Heat style once again, not necessarily loading up the trunk, but just kind of keeping it walk-by, the silencers, and nobody is looking. Oh, chat, of course, speaking of Scarface earlier, the estate here is top-notch for that type of vibes. Honestly, the pool is pretty crazy. Architecture feeling like it's in the same inspo, and more people, you know, getting gunned down in their own property as well too, much like the Scarface house, even though, you know, did his best to try. But hey, do people start snitching, chat? Is that what happens after a couple of people start getting taken out? Hey, yo, it is what it is. A lot of old guys doing the hits as well, too, here. I mean, you know, it's kind of old on old crime, honestly. But it is a lot of old men running around taking out these bodies. So, you know, they're having to dig these graves and move these people around. And you would assume that, you know, a lot of bad backs, maybe some broken hips over the course of this. I don't know. Oh, this guy doesn't get the gunshot. This guy just gets pistol whipped and then the plastic bag over the head. Oh, what did he do, chat? Hey, yo, that guy was really upset. Whoever committed that one, or is like, let me just have a take on this scene. That would be kind of crazy. But Scorsese, this feels like kind of a signature Scorsese type of shot here. We got him kind of creeping down the hallway along the wall. Sharon Stone rounds the corner. Immediately, the camera kind of backs up and then backtracks down the wall again. I don't really know what that means symbolically. Oh, just going kind of door to door as well, too. Oh, I guess she's not knocking on that door. She is just kind of sliding against the wall at this point. Pause. But, you know, I feel like you can work that in a little bit. Oh, chat passes out. Tough. Of course, had a tough go of it, and to say the least. And yeah, unfortunately, it is tough. Yeah, Sharon Stone, R.I.P. Iconic run in Casino. It is what it is. And Ayo chat, just like Preacher Boy at the end of Sinners, wandering back into the church. De Niro wandering back into his car at the end of Casino, smoking the cigarette. Of course, did they plant the car bomb on the wrong side? Is that what they say? No matter what the paper said about the car bombs, it was amateur night. You could tell whoever it was. Yeah, they put it under the passenger side. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, I mean, maybe they got just bad intel about what was going down. And then he had a metal plate under the driver's seat. You know, I don't know what experience he went through there after just getting launched in a, you know, exploding car. Would be a wild interaction to have. But, hey, yo, I don't know if this is, you know, not necessarily an Oppenheimer level graphics here from Casino. But, you know, pretty good. Pretty good. You get the shot of De Niro in the car beforehand and outside the explosion afterwards. It's pretty effective. Oh, and the Pesci scene is tough, chat. You know, Goodfellas, it's definitely a stomach drop when you see the room is empty and then you hear him react to that. But, of course, this is just brutal to watch. And, I mean, in Casino, I mean, he does a good job of earning his death in this. You know, it is what it is. But then, you know, having to watch his brother as well, too. So, oh, chat, baseball bat right to the back. Tough way to start. You know, and that's maybe not even the worst if we were fantasy drafting spots, but I don't know, you get a full swing metal back to the bat is brutal. And then, yeah, just relentless. It is what it is. So, once again, this guy is probably, well, I don't know, maybe in the 80s, this guy could be 52, to be honest. Pesci could be in his 30s here. We never know. Just people age differently back then. But, yeah, we've got, again, a whole crew of senior citizens out here just beating up on each other. So, I don't know if you would walk past this and be terrified or just be like, oh, okay, that's tough. But, yeah, this is, speaking of De Palma, maybe this is Scorsese's chainsaw scene. I know, you know, De Palma maybe gets criticized for, like, borrowing / hey, ripping off, whatever you want to say for Scorsese, but this is the chainsaw scene right here. Pesci's got to watch his brother, you know, get taken down the way that it is. And, of course, you know, I guess spoiler for Scarface, if you haven't seen it, though not spoiler, maybe, you know, Scarface makes it out of that scene. And Manny swooping in to save the day. Pesci, of course, not going to make it out of this one. The grave they dug, big enough for 2 here. But, yeah, either way, the sort of, you know, graphic off-screen violence that the guy there has to view is sort of similar in that way. And then Pesci, you know, done in his own way as well, too. Oh, chat, again, just brutal. Just brutal. Not messing around. Is this the desert as well? This is like some kind of cornfield. You know, they always talk about going out to the desert, but yeah. The cornfield death is tough. And then buried alive. Yeah, chat. Nikki, they were fed up. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Did they go find him afterwards, or is this just storytelling from what happened? Did they find him still breathing? Is that how they knew they buried him while they were still breathing? Because I guess if they lasted that long as well, that'd be impressive. Oh, that's right. He stumbles out of the car, I guess. Hey, yo. So, you know, definitely battered and worse for wear. Is that the saying? But yeah, the car explosion, avoiding that is what counts. So, you know, Rothstein, I guess he did enough. Well, I don't know if he did enough good things to, or whatever. It just the story happens. Somebody needed to tell it for Scorsese to make it on pictures. So De Niro was able to survive. But yeah, Scorsese, hey yo, he makes you earn your watch for this one, chap. But and again, if you're talking about brisk 3-hour movies, this is about as good as you can get right here for a project in general. And great cast, like we were saying, great film, chat. You don't need to say us. You don't need us to say it. We can't even talk anymore. It's been 4 hours. Are we on the 4-hour mark? We are past our bedtime. It is what it is. So, we're gonna cut it short of the 4-hour mark. It is what it is. Do we stay on and compete? I don't know. I think again we probably have to hit the hay. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday night reporting back about the family. See if the family got food poisoning from us grilling tonight. We'll see if the Colts are able to compete with Sam's Chiefs. We'll, I guess, preview Thanksgiving by ranking something. We probably won't, but we'll be back following the NFL and hanging out, having a good time on Sunday as always. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys there. And like we said earlier, you can, of course, I guess, like I said, join us here on the YouTube. Follow the podcast feeds, Rem and Sam Pod. DM us at Instagram if you want to send us a